One sec. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our reading of one of my favorite films from the 80s, Dragnet. We have a very small but beautiful cast here tonight. We have cast down there doing the scene description and also playing some people, including April. We have Logan, of course, as our Joe Friday, looking very dapper. We have Anne, of course, playing the Virgin Connie Swale, amongst a lot of other people. Including Hulk Hogan, who's not in the movie. So I'm curious to see how that works here. And then we have Travis, of course, playing a lot of people, including Captain Gannon and Emo Muzz. I felt like that was correct casting, having Travis as Emil Muzz. And then me, of course, playing Pep Strebeck, played by the great Tom Hanks in the film, and some other people as well. So yeah, cast whenever you're ready. Let's do this.
All right. Dragnet, 1987. Fade in. Exterior, Los Angeles morning aerial. A panoramic view of the sprawling city of Los Angeles, somewhat obscured by a thick blanket of dense gray-green smog hanging above it like a nauseating canopy.
This is my city, Los Angeles, California. 4,113 square miles of constantly interfacing humanity.
Music and montage. Chinatown. Cinco de Mayo Festival. Blackstreet Blues session. Fire hydrants open for summer. Little Tokyo.
Representing every race, color, creed, and persuasion that God, no matter how he is worshipped.
A religious gong sounds as we see a majestic synagogue, a magnificent Catholic church, a mosque, Robert Schuller's Crystal Cathedral, the Scientology, oh shoot, we got Scientology up in here, a drive-through non-denominational worship center. Drive-through.
Chose in his infinite wisdom to deposit on this topographically variated expanse between the Sierra Nevada mountains and the largest ocean on the planet Earth.
We see the sparkling Pacific and golden beach beyond.
Balboa sailed these waters. Sir Francis Drake, Humphrey Bogart.
Continue montage. Snow-capped mountains, the San Fernando Valley, the desert.
Anyone who's ever called this place home has pitched in from time to time, making his or her individual contribution, big or small, to give the City of Angels its status as the undisputed cultural nexus of the Pacific Rim.
Dodger Stadium, the Music Center, the Coliseum during the 1984 Olympics, the Hollywood Bowl.
Some of the greatest names in history of music have played here. Arturo Toscanini, Vladimir Horowitz, Henry Mancini.
The Hollywood sign, Universal Studios, and Warner Brothers looking on.
The big orange with the big brass ring. They come here from Kansas and London, from Oshkosh and Tokyo.
We see a rich couple walking through the LA International Airport arrivals building.
Some get here by plane with matching leather luggage and thick mink coats. They bother to bring along a passport.
We see a broken down Chevy on a Barrio street. The trunk pops open as a dozen illegals. They somehow fit in the trunk, pile out.
And some just get here any way they can. No in-flight movie, dressed in broken dreams. Like any other place, anywhere, there are those who have it.
A Bel Air mansion.
And those who want it.
A broken down tenement.
Those who have it, enjoy it.
Beautiful people playing tennis, Ferraris, and rolls on and Rodeo Drive, a yacht in the Mount Marina.
No matter how they get it.
CBS Television City, oil wells off the La Synagogue, skyscrapers downtown.
Those who want it get it one of two ways. They can attempt to better themselves by enrolling in one of the area's most famous institutions of higher learning.
UCLA, USC, volleyball players at Pepperdine.
Or they can try to take it the easy way.
Close in on LAPD bus. Black and white with caged windows occupied by noisy prisoners. The bus pulls out from beneath the concrete garage under the Los Angeles City Hall. Before it pulls out into traffic, a blue Ford passes through frame.
That's where I come in.
Camera pans with blue Ford as it rounds the corner and draws up a park in front of exterior Los Angeles City Hall. Day, the classic white edifice.
I work here.
Sergeant Joe Friday gets out of his Ford. Clear-headed, cool-eyed, grimly optimistic, he starts up the steps.
My name's Friday. I carry a badge.
Now, superimposed over the actual City Hall is Badge 714, just in case you didn't believe that he had a badge. Flickers of light dance across the stunning metal resolution. Into main titles. The familiar theme rises in a state-of-the-art pulsating electronic synth version, dissolved through to Badge 714, now backlit in silhouette as the Through the tones of deep-throated announcer are heard.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. For example, Laura Smith is now called Sylvia Wuss.
Exterior railroad tracks and desert night. A sleek, modern Santa Fe tanker train speeds across the San Bernardino desert. Interior diesel engine cab, night. A Tex-Mex rock tune plays on a portable radio. A Hispanic engineer leans casually against his armrest, watches the control panel and the tracks ahead. The engineer sits up suddenly, seeing something strange ahead of him, something he knows shouldn't be there. Angle down tracks, his point of view, headlights, red, blue, and white strobes are arrayed across the rail path less than a mile in front. Back to train, bearing down towards the obstruction, air horns bleeding, back to cab. The engineer realizes the obstruction is not going to move. He frantically starts to bring the hurtling train to a complete stop, gearing down and applying the brakes. Exterior tracks obstruction, night. Parked across the track bed is a semi-tractor trailer rig with an aluminum trailer stenciled with the words, "Good, wholesome milk." Also parked, blocking the way, are two highway patrol cars with brights and strobes flashing. The oncoming train squeals, screeches, and grinds to a quivering halt. The engineer climbs down from the cab. He's immediately surrounded by several figures wearing the protective chemical restraint suits, gloves, and head masks.
¿Qué pasa, amigos? I got this real tight schedule to keep, okay?
Suddenly, the semi-rig starts up and drives clear of the tracks. The figures in suits instantly whip out guns.
Hey, what's going on here?
But you're not supposed to know that.
This chem suit lifts a small container of mace, sprays the engineer in the face, and collapses to the ground.
Start pumping.
Ankle on rear of the train tanker cars. Halfway down the length of the train, the figures in the protective suits gather near the liquid transporter car, bearing red, yellow, and black hazard labels, including poison, highly toxic. The aluminum double semi dives up and parks. The suited figures climb in onto the train and the semi-trailers. They uncap the tank cars and swing hoses and booms from the semi-rig. These are inserted into the huge rolling reservoirs. High-speed suction pumps are activated. The hoses buck and the contents of the train are drained off. The chem suit watches the theft in progress, and he looks up at a protectively suited man atop one of the tank cars.
Careful, Carl. Remember, once they're mixed, one whiff and you're dead.
Angle on highway patrolman. The two apparently bogus highway patrolmen approach the fallen engineer. One of them is huge, bearded, Lyle Alzado type, Emil Muzz, with the face reflecting stunning cruelty. That sums up Travis pretty well. He stands over the unconscious body, withdraws a business card from his breast pocket, and examines it. Insert shot business card, marked only with the Gothic black letters PAGAN. Back to scene. The patrolman Muzz kneels over the fallen engineer, carefully inserts the card into the man's shirt pocket. He rises, grins malevolently, and at the other patrolman. Exterior Griffith Park Zoo, night. A wire mesh fence surrounds the vast acreage of the preserve. We hear monkey chatter and elephant trumpeting. A figure camouflage fatigues emerge from the darkness. Stealthily, he checks both ways, then ascends the fence. Interior reptile section. A plexiglass shield protects the large jungle-covered terrarium. A nameplate is affixed to the top of the display. Giant anaconda, Central Bolivia, please do not provoke. The camo man flits by inside the plexiglass. He pauses as the moonlight momentarily illuminates his face. Once again, the terrifying visage of Emil Muzz. Muzz crawls along expertly. There's a quick flurry of movement ahead of him. Angle on snake, his point of view. The distance in front of him, a 30-foot giant anaconda snake. The huge reptile's head swivels to face the camera, apparently having spotted something. Angle on the groundhog, the snake's point of view. A wide-eyed groundhog trembles at the entrance to an open burlap sack. Back to the snake. He's hungrily slithering off in the direction of the succulent groundhog. The panicked groundhog scurries quickly back inside the sack. Back to the snake. The endless anaconda enters the sack in pursuit of its prey. The camera pans along the entire length of what we now realize is a 31-foot tubular sack. because everybody's got one of those lying around, the giant reptile finally completely disappears inside as Muzz pops out of the bushes with a length of thick rope and neatly ties the open end of the sack. Interior aerial cages, night, thick branches, and canopy provide a home for the various flying creatures. Among them, as indicated by the sign, Madagascar tree bat, no flash bulbs, please. Abel Muzz lurches above, moving from branch to branch. Interior bat cages. Muzz positions himself above the cluster of bats, extracting a flash gun from his belt as he pops it. Flooding the bats with light, the creatures are aroused and then begin quivering with terror. Muzz plucks them off their perches one by one with ease, then drops them into his bag. Interior lion pit, night. A massive example of the male lion growls menacingly at the intruder, Emil Muzz. He extracts the tranquilizer pistol, fires, and quickly fells the beast. Approaching the heavy form, makes sure the drug has taken, then pulls out a large white smock with the letters PAGAN clearly visible on it. Muzz then extracts a straight razor and a large can of Gillette's The Hot One shaving cream. Exterior Industrial Park, dawn. A complex of warehouse buildings. Bright red fire trucks are parked in front of one warehouse. A large sign identifies the warehouse as the home of Blind Publishing Incorporated, Bait Magazine, Bad Boys, The Adventures of Muffy. Near the loading docks, firemen are cleaning out the place, throwing hundreds of boxes of something out of the warehouse, then loading them onto the fire trucks. Close on box, one of the boxes accidentally hits the ground and splits open. Dozens of issues of Bait magazine display over the ground. Back to scene, a sleepy night watchman wanders over from the corner, noticing the goings-on. He approaches the fire commander.
What is this? Where the hell's the fire?
The fire commander turns to face him and the camera. It's Emil Muzz. He reaches inside his coat, pulls out a Coke bottle filled with the clear liquid, lights a wick at the end of it. Muzz heaves the Molotov cocktail into the warehouse where it lands and explodes, sending sheets of fire across the floor, which instantly begin to engulf the buildings in flame. The towering Muzz extends his huge paw, grabbing the night watchman by the neck, lifting him off the ground.
See the fire?
I see the fire. I see the fire.
Muzz pinches the particular vein on the night watchman's neck. He drops to the ground like dead meat. The inferno begins to devour the warehouse. Exterior Los Angeles City Hall, day. The stately white building on a sparkling morning.
It was Thursday, January 7th. A cool day with a 15-mile-an-hour westerly wind and light scattered clouds at 3,000 feet.
Interior Central Robbery Division, day. Friday joins the line of the coffee cart where detectives take their coffee and jelly donuts. Friday nods, plays the coffee girl, takes 2 cups and 2 jelly donuts.
I was working day watch out of Central Robbery at the same desk my late Uncle Joe occupied when he was with the department 20 years ago.
Friday approaches his desk, the only neat one in the room. There's a photo of Jack Webb on it. Oh, Easter eggs already. Friday takes his seat, puts a cup on donut on the place across from him.
It felt like a quiet day at the time. But after 14 years on the force, I've learned that even the most experienced of peace officers can be mistaken.
He looks at Webb's photo, then begins leafing through a stack of bulletins and memoranda.
8:40 a.m., I was reading over the new directions on proper high-speed pursuit driving and was starting to commit them to memory.
Friday glances over at the empty desk next to him.
8:41 a.m., my partner's coffee was getting cold, his donut was getting stale, and I was getting concerned.
Captain Gannon enters from off-screen.
Morning, Joe.
Captain, Frank's late. Must have been held up in traffic.
You don't have to cover for Frank this morning, Joe.
Captain,
Frank won't be coming in today.
24-hour virus.
Or tomorrow, Joe.
48.
Frank quit. Bought a goat farm and moved to Ukha. Said he knew you'd understand.
Ukiah. Yeah, sure, I understand, Captain. But tell me something. Those 8.9 million citizens out there, the ones who expected him to be on the job this morning, will they understand?
Gannon shrugs. Friday shakes his head. Interior police garage, day. Friday is getting his Ford gassed up. A police tow truck enters, hauling a completely wrecked, unmarked car. A car that has been wrapped around a pole, pinched between a truck and a guardrail, with its roof peeled back like a sardine can. The truck stops. Out steps the individual, Strebeck, with a salt and pepper shoulder-length hair and beard, wearing jeans, sneakers, t-shirt, and pastel suit jacket, and a Chicago Cubs baseball cap. He waves his thanks to the driver of the tow truck as he approaches Friday with a cheery expression.
Sergeant Friday?
Maybe. Who wants to know?
Pep Strebeck. I'm your new partner.
Not looking like that, mister.
Oh, really? What's that supposed to mean?
It means I don't care what undercover rock you crawled out from. There's a dress code for detectives in robbery. Section 49, paragraph B. It specifies short hair, clean shirt, tie, sports jacket, pressed trousers, and leather shoes, preferably with high shine on them. And if you want to wear a hat, you better make sure the letters on it stand for L.A. and not Cincinnati.
This doesn't stand for Cincinnati. Don't you recognize this C? Wait, let me give you a hint. The Cubs.
Play animal, vegetable, and mineral on your own time, Strebeck. Just fix those letters or I'll burn that hat.
Exterior Los Angeles Street, day. Friday's Ford maneuvers through heavy traffic.
9:05 a.m. Strebeck's unauthorized hat and facial growth were history, and for the first time in 12 years, I rolled into traffic with a new partner by my side.
Angle through Ford windshield. Friday drives. Strebeck is cleaned up and dressed neatly. He listens to music through the Walkman earphones.
Officer Pep Strebeck, male Caucasian, 6'2", 194 pounds, no distinguishing marks or characteristics. He had an extensive list of merit citations and arrests that was slightly tainted by a total disregard for departmental procedure.
Interior Ford. Strebeck drives to the music coming through his Walkman.
He's been bumped from his elite undercover narcotics unit down into my department. Robbery.
Strebeck cracks and munches pistachio nuts, littering the floor.
He pictured himself as some hipster freebird cop, but his wings were about to be clipped because now he was going to play the detective game by my rules.
Friday looks over, shakes his head in disgust.
Got a problem?
You bet. Got that thing turned up so loud I can hear it all the way over here.
You have got a problem. You don't like music.
Not that kind.
Strebeck removes the headset and turns the Walkman off.
What kind of music do you like? Perry Como?
I don't think Perry would appreciate your sick distortion of his last name, Strebeck.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I meant Perry Homo. I'm sorry. I didn't know you knew him.
Not that it's any of your business, but I had the privilege of investigating a break-in at Perry's house 10 years ago.
Don't tell me. They stole sweaters.
78 of them. All different colors, all different sizes. Perry's weight tends to fluctuate.
Ever find them?
The case is still pending. We're looking for a fanatical fan.
A stunned Strebeck stares him into total disbelief. 2 Echo 20, 2 Echo 20.
2 Echo 20.
Follow up on a Grand Theft Auto, the Highway Patrol garage on Converse. Exterior California Highway Patrol parking lot. The downtown motor depot beneath several decks of freeway. Friday's Ford pulls inside. Closer on Ford. Friday parks the Ford in front of a sea of CHP black and whites in every condition of repair and damage. Friday and Strebeck get out, are immediately joined by a highway patrol officer.
Friday, Strebeck, robbery.
Let's see. I don't think I cast a Bud Nelson. Does anybody want to be Bud Nelson?
I'll do it.
Sorry.
But Bud Nelson, thanks for coming.
Just doing our job. What do you got?
Well, I checked in for work this morning, took a routine count, and noticed that 5 of our patrol units were missing. All I found was one of these in each of the vacant spaces. Nelson takes out 5 business cards and hands them to Friday. Insert shop business cards. Identical, all with the letters PAGAN. Back to scene.
So let me get this straight. Are you saying the highway patrol can't even keep track of its own cars?
Strebeck, this theft occurred within the jurisdiction of the LAPD. That makes us technically responsible for the disappearance. I'm sure the Highway Patrol appreciates the help. Now, could you describe the cars, please? Bud?
Describe the cars. Look, for Christ's sake, they're all the same. Black and white with highway patrol written all over them.
I realize that, Strebeck, but maybe, just maybe, the stolen vehicles happen to have some distinguishing features which made them different from all the others. Like their own individual license plates? Go ahead, proceed with your description, Bud.
Well, basically, they all look the same. Black and white with highway patrol written all over them. Friday writes this down on his pad. Exterior freeway day, aerial shot. Friday's Ford drives along the middle lane of the freeway, being passed on both sides of the steady stream of cars. Interior Ford, moving shot. Strebeck fidgets, glances over at the speedometer.
You know, you are allowed to go 55, on some occasions even faster.
Strebeck, did it ever cross that unfocused mind of yours that by going 8 miles an hour slower, we might save a few gallons of gasoline and thereby ease the burden on those poor taxpayers out there who pay for our salary?
Call $4.20 an hour salary.
$4.20? How do you figure?
Now try to follow me here. You're clearing $9,000 a year after taxes, right?
Go ahead, math whiz. Keep talking.
After comp, state, medical, FICA, PBA, and Social Security deductions, you're making $42 a day, 10-hour day, $4.20 an hour. I have a teenage cousin who invented zits and works at Burger King. She gets $4.50.
Well, mister, if that's your gripe, I'd be delighted to accept your revolver and shield and personally present them to any of the 8,400 annual recruits to the Academy who would just love to be sitting in your seat right now.
All I'm saying is using a little extra gasoline isn't going to put the city in hock. Live a little. It's the big pedal on the right.
Interior, exterior, Griffith Park Zoo. Friday and Strebeck walk along one of the display corridors.
9:48 a.m. We responded to a robbery report at the Griffith Park Zoo, Los Angeles' primary habitat for animals once living in the wild and now sustained in dignified natural captivity. You know, Strebeck's these animals have it pretty good. Simulated surroundings, 3 squares a day. If they could talk, I bet these creatures would give the citizens of this city a big vote of thanks.
Is your bag full of groceries, Friday? These animals were trapped, stunned, roped, crated, shipped, and dropped into cages. You think they were out there in the wild forming lines, jockeying for position, yelling, wait, take me, I want to live on damp cement?
Let's just say when I look in their eyes, I get a different message, mister, and leave it at that.
A young female zookeeper approaches them.
Are you gentlemen the police?
Yes, ma'am. Friday, Strebeck, robbery. What happened?
Interior anaconda enclosure. They stand outside, gazing into the vacant enclosure.
I was here last night at 8:39, because that's when it gets its final feeding.
Yes, ma'am. And what exactly is the Central Bolivian giant anaconda chooses to feed on?
So you had breakfast this morning, didn't you, Friday?
Whoever stole it's got to feed it, bub.
It eats all live groundhogs.
As a trained police officer, I should have guessed that.
Did it ever occur to you, Strebeck, that whatever catering service supplies live groundhogs this lady might just be able to help us?
Exterior bat enclosure. All 3 look up at the empty 3 branches above.
And what is the approximate height and weight of an average Madagascar tree bat?
I mean, you don't know?
Exterior lion enclosure. Camera tracks with Friday, Strebeck, and the zookeeper past a group of primary school children who are staring dolefully into the lion enclosure, and several are crying.
Now, this is what I understand the least.
Clothes on male lion, trying to look regal in spite of his brush cut.
Somebody must have wanted that lion's mane pretty bad to pull a twisted stunt like that.
Although, as brush cuts go, it could have been worse. At least it'll grow back.
Friday turns to look at the distraught school children.
And just how do you tell it to those kids who've never seen a lion before and now probably won't ever have the desire to see another one ever again?
Sergeant Friday, I forgot something. I do find one of these in each of the enclosures.
The zookeeper hands over 3 business cards. Insert shots, identical, each with the letters PAGAN. Back to scene. Friday nods at Strebeck and pockets the cards. Exterior Industry Gardens warehouse complex. Friday and Strebeck climb onto what's left of the loading docks as the charred warehouse. They're met by the night watchman.
10:35 a.m. We responded to an arson report by Industry Gardens. After some preliminary questioning, we were referred by the night watchman, Mr. Angus Chubb, to the owner of the stolen property, Mr. Jerry Blint. By 10:38, we were en route to a sprawling Blint mansion in the coveted Bel Air section of Los Angeles.
Exterior Blint Mansion. Friday's Ford pulls up in front of a pair of massive wrought iron gates which guard the entrance to the mansion. Friday honks his horn with no response. Strebeck patiently points past him at the window standing intercom. Friday reaches out, presses the button. Red light goes on as the TV camera above the intercom is activated. A throaty female voice is heard.
Thank God, vibrator repair.
Police officers. Friday, Strebeck, robbery. Sorry.
There's a pause, and then the wrought iron gates swing open. Friday navigates his Ford through the entrance. Exterior mansion grounds. Friday's car proceeds up the long, winding driveway through the beautifully manicured grounds of a sumptuous mansion. As the Ford winds its way along, it passes pink flamingos strutting on the great lawn, scantily clad female gardeners trimming hedges and pruning trees, more women in tiny bikinis playing frisbee, volleyball, leapfrog, tag, romping through fountains, sliding down waterfalls, and other such things. Interior forward moving shot. Strebeck's face glows with excitement. Friday's eyes narrow, then blink, as if Frisbee skids across the hood of the car.
It's enough to churn your guts, isn't it, Strebeck?
You mean that redhead over there printing the gladiolas with her?
That smut peddler like Jerry Blint could build a modern day Gomorrah smack in the middle of the same city where they recorded We Are the World.
Right.
Angle on the mansion front door. The Ford stops at the front door and Friday gets out, lights a cigarette. Strebeck presses on the bell and the door is opened by a ravishing girl who smiles enthusiastically. Can I help you?
Police officers, I'm Friday. This is...
April!
That's right.
This girl was a bait mate. See, in Bait Magazine, they have one every month, and she was featured.
I get the hang of it, Strebeck. In the April issue.
February. My name is April.
Now, don't tell me now. Your favorite movies are the long version of Heaven's Gate and the musical of Lost Horizons. You love to go bobbing for apples, and your major turnoffs are anchovies, people who don't use coasters, and...
Men who smoke in public places. Strebeck and April stare silently at Friday, who finally removes his cigarette, drops it, and steps on it. Exterior mansion pool. Jerry lies on a fur-covered double chaise by his Olympic-sized swimming pool, surrounded by a gaggle of bait maids in varying states of undress. He squints, looks up at the sudden presence of Friday, blocked as Friday blocks the sun.
Hey, it's about that time. I called you to went past cops 3 hours ago.
Yes, sir, my name's Friday.
Take a lot of kidding about that.
Almost never. This is Strebeck. Could you give us a complete description of what's missing?
Yeah, sure. How about the entire run, every single copy of our 20th anniversary double issue of Bait?
Bait.
This Skin magazine.
Say, the intelligent subscriber regards it as politically oriented, socially impacting monthly.
Uh-huh. And how much would you figure a monthly run of this magazine of yours is worth?
Copies $1 a piece. We'll see. I'm figuring out public porn. That's more money than you'll ever see in your life, and I do that every month.
At least my money's clean.
Yeah? Well, before you go home to polish up your pants, flathead, let's get the magazines back on the stands. Okay.
Listen, Hotshot, I'll let you know right now that I don't care for you or for your putrid sludge you're throwing out. But until they change the laws to put you sleaze kings out of business, my job is to help you locate your stench-ridden boxes of smut. And since I won't forget to hold my nose, I'll be doing it with one hand.
Jerry, approximately what time would you say your magazines were stolen?
Like Big Ben? Why don't you ask the fire department? From what I hear, they were the ones who burned down the warehouse.
The Los Angeles Fire Department is comprised of brave men and women who risk their lives daily to protect our citizens and their property. And whether you like to hear it or not, mister, the fireman is your friend.
An older but still devastatingly attractive woman, Sylvia, approaches.
Excuse me, Mr. Blent. So that didn't work, did it? Hold on. Fuck it. Excuse me, Mr. Blent. It's time for your collagen treatment, and you're having your pores sucked at 3. Right. With your magazines, okay? Otherwise.
He leaves. A frustrated Friday's pen snaps in two. Sylvia looks over, clearly taken by him.
You have very strong hands.
Tennis balls.
Excuse me?
I squeeze them daily.
Strebeck's eyes widen in sudden recognition.
Sylvia Wuss.
Why, yes, that's me.
They ought to transfer you to missing persons, Strebeck. You know everybody.
Friday, it's been all the papers, for God's sake. This Saturday is Bates' 25th anniversary party, and Blint has reunited all the former Bait mates of the year, and Miss Sylvia Wuss right here was the first bait mate ever.
Fascinating.
Sergeant, if I asked your honest opinion about something, would I get it?
You can bet the house on it.
Would you say that these look like the breasts of a 48-year-old woman?
She stands in full flash as Friday pauses, staring hard.
Confidentially, you may be asking the wrong guy.
Back off, Strebeck. I had a sister. No, they don't, Miss Wuss. They're quite impressive, bordering on spectacular. You have to be running along now.
Sergeant, about all those very strong hands of yours, wouldn't you like to?
Hey, Joe, darndest thing, I must have left my notepad in the car. It should take at least 20 minutes to find it. So why don't you sort of pump Sylvia here privately for any additional information she might have, and
It was very nice to have met you, Miss Wuss.
Had a good time too.
Come on, Strebeck. Let's go find that notepad.
Exterior mansion. Friday exits with an exasperated Strebeck.
are you crazy? Sylvia Whisk wanted you.
Let me tell you something, Strebeck. There are two things which clearly differentiate the human species from animals. One, we use cutlery. And two, we're capable of controlling our sexual urges. Now, you might be the exception, but don't drag me down into your private hell with you.
You have a lot of repressed feelings, don't you, Friday? That must be what keeps your hair up.
Interior Ford, moving shot, as Friday and Strebeck drive along.
Noon p.m. We were returning to the office. Reports had to be filed on the Highway Patrol robbery, the grotesque incidents at Griffith Park Zoo, the repeated appearances of those troubling pagan cards, and the theft of 500,000 25th anniversary double-issue copies of Strebeck's favorite magazine, Bait. Strebeck, hit the siren.
What's wrong?
That car up there? The day-glow yellow gremlin?
Outside of the paint job, what's the matter with it?
Nothing the matter with it. In fact, that particular motorist just made an extremely safe and effective lane change.
Your point being?
That I think it's incumbent of members of this department not only to prosecute lawbreakers, but to commend law-abiding citizens as well.
Let me get this straight. You want me to hit the siren so we can congratulate that motorist?
That's affirmative.
I get it now. You're a deeply disturbed schizoid, recently escaped from a mental institution. What have you done with the real Sergeant Friday?
Hit that siren, mister.
Exterior street in Gremlin. Friday's Ford looms up directly behind the little gremlin, which is being driven by a wizened old lady. The piercing siren slices through the air. The old lady clutches her chest, letting go of the steering wheel. The driverless gremlin bounces up onto the curb and is vaulted through the plate glass store window. Interior Ford. Friday watches, disappointed but still resolute. He watches for the intercom as Strebeck buries his face in his hands.
2 Echo 20, 2 Echo 20.
2 Echo 20.
2 Echo 20, follow up on a grand theft at Dodger Stadium. See ya, Mr. Thomas Lasorda.
Exterior Dodger Stadium. Tommy Lasorda, in full Dodger uniform, is standing at home plate in the empty ballpark, ranting at Friday and Strebeck.
We have a game tonight, and you hear me? It's actually 7:30, 7:35. We start a 12-game homestand against the San Francisco Giants. And if you think I'm going to let my boys play on a field in this condition, then you must think I live in a grapefruit diet.
Friday's gaze pans to the spotless field, which looks beautiful and nothing is apparently wrong or missing.
And just what seems to be the problem with the seamless natural turf, Manager Lasorda?
Do you know anything about baseball?
I pitched a little as a youngster, sir.
Do you know anything about Dodger baseball? No one does.
Sir?
Oh, here, look.
Lasorda hands Friday and Strebeck a large, glossy photo. Insert shot. This is an enlarged photograph of Dodger Stadium, the playing field, outfield, walls, and so forth. Lasorda's fingers enter frame and points out one particular item.
See that? See that enormous $1 million one-of-a-kind electronic screen out there?
Back to scene. Lasorda points off to a wide cavity above the wall where the huge screen was situated in the photograph.
It's missing. Dodger Vision. Someone stole our Dodger Vision. Now you tell me, how are our devoted Los Angeles fans going to understand that they just saw on the field unless they see it replayed on Dodger Vision?
Use their memory?
Okay. Then let me ask you another question. Just how in God's name Are the LA fans, the fakest fans in the world, going to be able to sing the national anthem, our Star Spangled Banner, without reading the lyrics on Dodger Vision?
This is serious. Let me ask you a question, sir. Does this look familiar?
Friday pulls out a PAGAN card. Pagan shows it to him.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I found this one in my locker.
Any idea what it means?
I thought maybe it came from Jose Pagan, light hitting shortstop from the Giants in the 60s. Listen, everybody likes to be remembered. No?
I'm afraid not. But rest assured that the Los Angeles Police Department will do everything in its power to appreciate our Dodger Vision by game time.
Sergeant Friday, if that screen isn't back here by 7:35 tonight, I swear to God I'm taking this team back to Brooklyn.
The sort of storms off. Friday shrugs and shakes his head. Exterior hot dog stand. The Law Dogs hot dog stand on Wilshire Boulevard. The familiar Ford is parked at the curb, and Friday puffs on a cigarette as he and Strebeck wait for their food.
What's bothering you besides me?
I'm thinking about those pagan cards, Strebeck. First at the Highway Patrol parking lot, then at the zoo, now at Dodger Stadium. It's as if someone is trying to undermine the great institutions of this city.
The attendant pushes a pair of chili dogs through the serving window. Friday loads them up, and Strebeck accepts half a watermelon and bowl of alfalfa sprouts.
You're having 2 of those chili dogs?
I can handle it, Strebeck. Why?
It's just that they're the worst thing for you. Filled with nitrates, toxins, poisons, and here you are doubling up on them.
Unlike you, I only have one vice, and this is it. So pipe down and let me enjoy my lunch in peace.
Friday, have you ever seen the kinds of things that could fall into an industrial sausage press, not excluding rodent hairs and excrement?
I hate you, Strebeck.
They eat in silence. The Ford is at the curb in the background. 2 men into the frame, get into the Ford, start it, drive it away. The noise from the intersection masking the sound. Friday and Strebeck finish eating, each one wiping off, then balling up his napkins and wrappers. They rise, start off to the car, stop as they see that it's missing. Interior Central Robbery Office. Friday strides down the corridor and Strebeck follows.
With the exception of you and Can Cling Peaches, I would be hard-pressed to find anyone or anything that doesn't know you should never leave your car keys in the ignition.
It's called a mistake, Friday, but I guess you don't make those, do you?
They pass Gannon's office as he sticks his head out.
Santa Fe Rail is all over me like a new suit again. Get over the factory place and see what you can find out about this train hijacking.
Captain, we'll be rolling just as soon as we requisition a new...
Yeah. One more thing. Police and fire departments all over the country are reporting vehicles stolen. So keep an eye on your car.
He sticks his head back inside, shuts the door. Friday and Strebeck look at each other. Friday shakes his head. Exterior train yards. Friday and Strebeck's tiny escort makes its way through the vast expanse of switching lines and freight trains.
1:15 p.m. We responded to the call at the vast Terminal Avenue freight yards, Southern California's largest railhead with more than 1,000 miles of tracks lying parallel over 20,000 individual ties, hewn from the state's majestic redwood trees.
Exterior train and freight yards. Friday and Strebeck join a group of the Merli's tank car. A police officer stands with a well-dressed man and a Hispanic train engineer. Tito, yeah, those guys.
Friday, Strebeck, LAPD, robbery. Something missing?
3,000 gallons of liquid fertilizer. The train was hijacked early this morning. This is the owner of the chemical company, Roy Guest.
So it's your fertilizer, is it, Roy? Well, not exactly fertilizer. It's chloropricine.
Chloropricine?
GC13NO2. CC13NO2. Good clue. You know, trichloromethane.
Yes, sir. What is it normally used for?
Chloropicrine?
Trichloromethamethane.
Actually, chloropicrine and trichloromethane.
Uh-huh.
They're shipped in separate containers when properly mixed together in an exact ratio, they form a liquid fertilizer. Soil fumigant, actually. Anything else we should know about this particular substance, Roy?
Properties of odor, color, effects on human beings?
Well, when it's mixed, it's clear like water, but you wouldn't want to smell it. Why not? Basically, because it burns the eyes, the throat, and lungs, causes vomiting, and if continuously inhaled, death. Oh, sort of like your aftershave.
You're the engineer, aren't you, sir?
Si, sir. Tito Proveco?
Do you remember anything about the hijackers of chloropropane and trichloromethane that might help us, Senor Professor?
Boy, no. I remember they all wear yellow suits with big masks, so I can't see the face.
Gracias, Tito. Big help.
Senor Provençal, maybe you're forgetting something?
He stops and Friday whips out the PAGAN card.
Oh, Dios mío!
He takes one out of his breast pocket as well, and Friday looks over the Strebeck's, nods grimly. Exterior Hollywood Boulevard newsstand. Friday and Strebeck look through the various publications along an endless magazine stand. We hear two-way radio broadcasts coming through the PA of their new car, a tiny Ford Escort. A portable TV plays from above the vendor's cash register, and Strebeck thumbs through several different issues of Bait magazine as Friday joins him.
Thought you said you already subscribed to that rag.
These are back issues from before I signed up. I figure maybe Blint ran some story that could have ticked somebody off.
They move back to the vendor as newscast suddenly becomes audible from his TV above the cash register.
The Reverend Erman Vandervoort, the so-called Dutch Deacon of Decency, arrived in the Southland today and prepared to launch his personal campaign to wipe out all forms of pornography and impurity in the United States of America.
Close on television. A packed press conference is in session. The Reverend Vor, a pile-drivingly humorless individual with a pallid face, fields to the questions, nostrils slightly flaring as if continually suspecting a secret fart somewhere.
Logan, you can be the reporter too. I don't think I realized those are two different people.
Reverend Vort, we're all curious as to why you chose Los Angeles as a starting point for this national campaign.
It's quite simple, really. If in the United States of America one wants to affect a financial upheaval, he should set his sights on Wall Street. If he wishes to revolutionize the political system, he will naturally go to Washington. Each specific dilemma must be attacked as its own source. Thus, when dealing with the twin dragons of pornography and filth, descendants and moral degradation, what more logical place is there to begin than Los Angeles, California, the current capital of depravity and what sadly passes for the modern world?
Get the job done, Strebeck. He cleaned up Amsterdam.
You what?
That's right, mister. You're in Holland and you want to make tea? You can scoop the water up out of the canal, thanks to the Reverend Erman Vandervoort.
Asking for no quarter and dispensing none. I include for eradication the filthy magazine, the tantalizing peep shows, smarmy message parlors, so-called escort services, the provocative videos, grisly rock lyrics, the leather.
This must be the only man in the world with an empty closet. What a complete tulip head.
The vendor smiles in sympathy with Strebeck as Friday takes out some change to pay him for the magazine.
What is that you're buying?
From the looks of it, the only decent publication on the newsstand.
New Crusade? You read that right-wing garbage? Don't make me cry.
It's bound to bring tears to your eyes, fella. It's good Christian writing with moral value in every article.
Friday turns to face the TV where Vor continues gravely.
The situation has become desperate, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sad to say I believe the worst is yet to come. Confidential reports have filtered into my campaign of some emerging secret godless society, which is even now plotting nefarious atrocities against the decent people of this city.
Friday takes out a pagan card and looks at it and nods.
I hope to have film at 11.
Interior escort day, moving shot. Friday drives the car through traffic and Strebeck is stomping on the floorboards with his feet. Friday looks over.
If you're trying to get my attention, Strebeck, why don't you just clear your throat?
I'm trying to move the seat back.
There's a lever on the lower right-hand side.
I broke that thing off 10 minutes ago.
Well, I'm sorry you find our new car so uncomfortable. Perhaps you'd feel better if you stretched out in the trunk. I know I would.
Friday?
That's me.
Just exactly what is it you do for fun, like at night?
What are you getting at, Strebeck?
Well, usually when you ride with a guy for a couple of days, you start to get a feel of who he is and what he is when he's not on duty. I mean, look at me, the original open book. I'm single, freewheeling. I like to drive up the coast, check into a cozy little seaside motel with a beautiful chick, and ball my brains out all weekend.
Why doesn't any of that surprise me?
For openers, I don't even know where you live.
That's right, mister. You don't.
I know it's got to be in a monastery, but which one? Listen, let's say I'm kidnapped and tortured by some criminal organization who will kill me if they don't find out what you do at night. What do I tell them?
You tell them I'm a cop, Strebeck. 24 hours a day.
What do? Pin your badge to your pajamas? Don't answer that. 12 Echo 20, 12 Echo 20. Yo, tell Sergeant Friday another one of those pagan cards just showed up. As a matter of fact, more than one.
Exterior Mongolia Apartments, a 2-story apartment complex in the valley with a swimming pool in the center. The escort pulls up. Friday and Strebeck get out, passing the sanitation crew, which is in the process of collecting the complex's trash.
2:15 p.m. We proceeded to 8823467 Magnolia. We have been advised to see the landlady, Enid Borden.
Angle on the upstairs apartment. Friday knocks on the landlady's door, which is opened by a substantially wide woman in bunny slippers and curlers.
What do you want?
Police officers, ma'am.
It's about time you pencil dick showed up. Why couldn't you have gotten here before that piece of sewage breath stole my white wedding dress?
Landlady Borden, sewage breath would be your little nickname for...
Was. Emil was.
Not much of an improvement.
That asswipe who stiffened for 2 months' rent when his deposit check bounced? Yeah, the goddamn pus-filled little pimp stick. All that was left in his room was a big box of these things.
Enid holds out a pagan card. Friday's eyes narrow.
Any idea where this Emil Muzz could be right now? Friends, family?
Nah, he was a loner. Took off in the middle of the night. Useless scum-lapping shitbag.
Just the facts, ma'am. Did he leave anything else behind?
Yeah, a tape deck, but I had to sell that to make up for the lost rent, so there's nothing you can do about it. You slimy little jizz bucket.
Yes, ma'am, but I should point out that technically you could be cited for swearing at us like that.
You know, those magazines and papers were his and the boxes down by the trash. No checks or money. I looked. Should have thrown it all into the river the day he left, but unlike some people, I have a little heart, goddammit. The miserable little bag of puke.
I think we're finished here, don't you, Strebeck?
Exterior side of the apartment complex. Friday and Strebeck see that all of the refuse has been collected. The sanitation truck is quickly disappearing from view, and they run for their escort. Exterior valley streets. They attempt to overtake the sanitation truck, but are interrupted by red lights while the truck is catching the greens. Friday stops for the red lights. Interior escort moving shut.
May I remind you, we're policemen and we don't have to stop for every light, especially when we're after somebody.
There are new departmental regulation on conditions for high-speed pursuit in unmarked units, and those conditions do not apply here.
Friday, since both vehicles are observing the proper speed limit and that truck has a blockhead start on us, the only alternative to you speeding up is waiting to see which one of us runs out of gas first.
The light turns green, and Friday stares at Strebeck, floors it. Angle on the sanitation trunk. The escort pulls up next to the driver, and Friday hits the whale howl as Strebeck waves his badge.
Pull over, hey, let's go, Chief.
Exterior street 10 minutes later. An ocean of trash is neatly spread out for half a block in individual pieces. Friday and Strebeck rummage through it, watched by a thoroughly pissed off sanitation driver.
There's something with his name on it.
Yeah, there's more over here.
You don't expect me and my crew to pick all this shit up, do you?
Here's my card. Bill your overtime to me personally.
Is he kidding? Not so far.
Exterior park. Friday and Strebeck sip coffee, go through Muzz's leavings. They sit at a picnic table with children playing in the background under the supervision of nursemaids and mothers.
Boy, am I glad I got bumped down into robbery. You can almost reach out and touch the tension, can't you?
It has its days.
Like today, sitting in the park, picking through someone's garbage.
You never told me, Strebeck. How did I end up here with you anyway?
Command got upset when I elicited a confession from a suspect, and I quote, while holding the individual by his ankles above traffic passing beneath the Alameda Street overpass, unquote.
You got off easy. If I were running the department, you'd be history by now.
Freddie, if you were running the department, I'd be living in Des Moines. Look at these magazines he collects. Here's one that might appeal to you, American Fascist Quarterly.
You just crossed the line, Strebeck. Take one giant step back.
Hey, look, Joe, a phone number. Think it could be something?
Well, there's one way to find out, isn't there?
By calling, right?
On any one of the city's 386,424 public telephones, the flagship system in the international field of telecommunications.
Exterior park phone booth. Freddy approaches a telephone booth whose vandalized phone is missing its receiver. Well, I mean, we don't remember what those are, so who knows if it had a receiver. Exterior other park phone booths. Friday and Strebeck examine another telephone booth that doesn't even have a phone at all. See what I'm saying? Montage, phone booth. Friday and Strebeck visit payphones around the city, all of which are, for one reason or another, totally inoperable. Interior bus depot. Friday examines a bank of wall payphones on the bus depot.
Hey, Joe, over here.
Friday crosses the street, who stands next to a long line of people, all waiting to use what appears to be the city's only functional pay telephone in the whole city of Los Angeles. Friday heads for the front of the line, where a distinguished-looking woman waits patiently behind a gentleman who will be next to use the phone.
Excuse me, ma'am. Cutting in?
My ass learns how to chew gum, young man. There's a line here.
Friday, LAPD, city business.
Margolis, FBI, federal business.
I'm after him.
Angle on booth moments later. Strebeck waits outside the booth as Friday dials and waits.
It's ringing.
Good afternoon, Ninth residents.
Bingo.
Got a Catholic church?
Hello, may I help you?
Emil Muzz, please.
He's not here right now.
Can you tell me where he is, ma'am? It's quite important.
Well, since he's the driver and since he's out at lunch. Exterior Dion's Rollin', an outdoor drive-in restaurant where all the waitresses deliver orders to the cars and roller skates. Friday and Strebeck pull their escort into the parking slot, and Strebeck looks over at the waitresses appreciatively.
Takes your bag away, doesn't it? When was the last time you were on roller skates, Joe?
Sunday. Look, there's Blint.
Angle on Blint, their point of view. Jerry exits a long silver limousine heading for the men's room, around the side of the drive-in. Back to Friday and Strebeck.
I'll bet that's Muzz.
Well, let me check Enid Borden's description. Big, bad, and stupid looking. Exact match.
Uncanny. Angle on the limousine. Friday and Strebeck approach Muzz, who sits behind the wheel.
Police officers. Emil Muzz?
So what?
We'd like to ask you a few questions, Emil.
I don't have to answer any questions.
Mr. Muzz, I suggest you cooperate with us, or...
Muzz suddenly starts the limo, shifts into reverse, and floors it. His front tires backing over Friday's shoes as the limo crashes into the other cars behind. Friday's mouth opens in a silent scream as Muzz jams the limo into drive, screeches away, sending Dion's waitresses roller skating out of control, cheeseburgers and Maltas flying. Friday and Strebeck run for their escort, Friday hopping painfully towards the driver's side.
Oh, no, not you. You couldn't even catch that garbage truck.
Strebeck beats him to the driver's seat, hops in, and Friday has to leap into the passenger side while the car is in motion. Exterior streets. The limo leaps in the distance between blocks, Muzz threading it through the traffic expertly. The escort fumes along in a second with the cheap-sounding aluminum muffler hiss. Interior escort moving shot. Friday hangs for dear life as Strebeck barely pauses to acknowledge the cross streets.
Strebeck, this is it for you. It's all over. After I file my report, you're going to wind up sorting out pay stubs in the credit union.
Friday, shut the hell up and put on your seatbelt.
Exterior Pico Boulevard. Muzz's limo is doing 80. The escort is hard-pressed to keep up at top speed. Lights flashing and Whaler howling. Exterior Highway 90. Muzz's limo screams towards the marina. Interior escort moving shot. Strebeck is driving the double yellow line, passing between both lanes of traffic.
Repeat, we are in a high-speed pursuit south of the Marina Expressway. Request all units in the vicinity to That's a school bus, Strebeck. One silver stretch limousine. Driver, Emo Muzz.
Exterior Marina gas station, a corner lot with a vendor who has set up a mountain of stuffed toys and suitcases. The limo screams down the boulevard and cuts across the gas station lot, bursting through the vendor's goods, sending bears and suitcases flying. Friday and Strebeck are in hot pursuit, swerve to avoid the debris, and then take off after Muzz, heading for the ocean. Exterior beach, the limo speeds through the parking lot onto the sand, scattering bathers, volleyballs, and frisbee players. Exterior pier, thick piles of support that structure the uneven intervals. Interior limousine, moving shot. Muzz hurtles towards the piles, lots of room, he thinks. Angle on pilings, as the limo slams in between two of the pilings at great speed. It's stuck. Angle on escort, Friday and Strebeck. They slide up to a spray of surf and sand. Muzz tries to open the limo door, but the pilings have wedged him in. Friday smiles down at him through the window. Interior interrogation room. Muzz is handcuffed to a chair. He tries to make a move for his pack of cigarettes on the table.
Sit down unless you're growing.
Muzz, we've got you on 87 violations of the Motor Vehicle Code. It's just a matter of time before we tie you into one of those pagan jobs, not to mention you stole your landlady's wedding dress, which so far is the only endearing thing about you. Why don't you talk to us?
Listen, Puppet, you watch how you treat me, because things are changing as we speak. This permissive society is going to surfer, and you along with it, lackey.
Offer, huh? Funny stuff coming from a goon who works for Jerry Blint.
Muzz spits at Friday, and Strebeck shifts his full weight from the chair where he's been listening in the corner.
Why don't you go get us a couple of coffees, Joe? I know I could use one. You want anything, Muzz?
Cigarettes, a Baby Ruth bar, and my attorney badge kisser.
How'd I take your coffee, Strebeck?
Black.
Friday exits and closes the door. Strebeck grins at Muzz.
Oh, Emil? Now it's just you, me, your balls, and this drawer.
It's what George has always wanted with Travis. Strebeck slowly opens the door. Exterior hallway, angle on Friday and the coffee machine. There's an agonized scream from Muzz that can be heard down the hall, upstairs, and throughout the building. Interior interrogation room later. Muzz is babbling incoherently. Friday and Strebeck nod.
4:15 p.m. By the time I returned with coffee, Muzz was singing like Beverly Sills. He revealed his plans to attend a meeting that night at the club of which he was a member, but he refused to divulge the name and the location of their clubhouse.
Jump on this and spin, cop. I'm not saying another thing until my lawyer gets here.
Hey, Joe, wouldn't a couple of Danishes go great with this coffee?
Exterior police station desk. The one with Adam 12 mosaic.
7:13 p.m. Captain Gannon authorized us to stake out Muzz's clubhouse, located about 20 miles north of the city in the ecologically balanced Santa Monica Mountains. We went to Central Disguise Dispensary and withdrew one 1979 unmarked distressed Ford and 2 issues of undercover clothing and makeup.
Angle on distressed Ford. Friday and Strebeck walk to their car, dressed in half street punk, half Rambo configuration, leather, chains, and camo. Friday has a fluorescent orange streak in his hair. Strebeck wearing a flak vest and no shirt. It's made up to look as much like Muzz as possible with his hairstyle, beard, and so forth.
Well, Friday, we finally found your look.
At least I'm not dumb enough to go up there with no shirt on, Mr. Schwarzenegger. It's cold on the other side of those mountains, mister. You're gonna freeze your nips off.
Yay, aren't you, Friday?
Interior old Ford night, moving shot. They drive down a dark highway and Strebeck looks at a map.
Keep going. It's up here off Highway 63.
Probably just a little rat hole clubhouse where they watch TV and drink all day.
Not if it's connected to Jerry Blint. Jerry has a touch of class about him.
You really were impressed by that human sinkhole he calls a home, weren't you, Strebeck?
You bet I was, and I guess that goes for our chief, the mayor, and the city council, too.
How do you figure?
If you ever bothered to read an actual newspaper Friday, you'd know that they're all going to be at Blint's house this Saturday to help him celebrate the 25th anniversary of Bait magazine.
Oh.
What? What is it?
Flashing red lights appear in the mirror.
Highway patrol. They're pulling us over.
What's the problem? We show them our shields and away we go.
And have them ask what we're doing out here undercover on a city matter and why his department wasn't informed?
Then we'll write it out. We freaks have rights too.
Besides, weren't doing anything wrong.
How could we? You were driving.
Exterior highway. The highway patrol car stops and two CHP officers get out. They approach Friday and Strebeck, who remain inside their Ford.
May I see your license and registration, please?
What was the offense, officer?
The CHP on Strebeck's side shines a light inside, angle into the Ford his point of view. Strebeck's map attached to it, pagan card.
It's okay, Floyd. They're pagans.
Back to scene. Friday and Strebeck exchange a look.
That's right. Show him your card, Muzz. Emil.
Yeah, see, that's my name. Muzz, Emil Muzz.
The first officer trains his light on the membership card, comparing the face to Strebeck's.
I've been a little sick.
He nods and hands Strebeck back his ID.
Sorry to bother you, but can't be too careful. We don't want any non-pagans around here, especially tonight, right?
He and the other cop laugh. Friday and Strebeck laugh with no idea why they're laughing.
You can follow us though. The party's just started.
The highway patrol car pulls out. Friday's car follows. Interior forward moving shot.
Bogus cops. No matter how many times I've stumbled across that little maneuver, it never ceases to disgust me.
You mean people dressing up in strange clothes pretend to be something they're not?
That's right. Just get out that list of stolen black and whites, okay?
Let's see. 9412 AZD. Yep, it's hot, all right.
Exterior abandoned military complex night. A vast expanse in a remote area of the Santa Monica Mountains with a fantastic view of the carpet of lights from the San Fernando Valley beyond. The CHP car leads the Ford into the compound as wire cyclone gates are closed behind them. Interior Ford. Friday and Strebeck are stopped in the line, waiting for the vehicles in front to move on. Friday sees the gates being locked and chained behind him.
Your friend Blint really likes a sense of privacy, doesn't he?
A uniformed pagan comes up to the car window and hands Friday 2 large bundles.
Good evening, pagans. Don't forget your goat leggings.
Friday takes the bundles and exchanges a look with Strebeck, kind of the way we all look at Travis every day. Closer on the abandoned military complex, it's dark, blacked out completely except for the flickering glow in the center of the abandoned complex. Friday and Strebeck, now dressed in their goat legging, walk past a fleet of stolen police, fire, and paramedic vehicles.
Every stolen vehicle in LA County. We're definitely onto something here.
Just keep your goat leggings up and try to fit in.
Friday and Strebeck are swept along with the crowd as arc lights suddenly illuminate the scene. A gaping concrete hole is ringed with torches. Above it, a high platform. There's a huge bonfire, and in and around the entire display is mass throng of hundreds of people in goat leggings. Alongside the platform is a huge electronic screen identified as Dodger Vision, written in glowing letters, "Welcome, people against goodness and normalcy."
People against goodness and normalcy. Pagan.
Nice work, Joe.
The mass of pagans are eating, drinking, and wenching like Vikings and bikers. Cooking fires abound, whole beasts are turning on spits, and Friday and Strebeck mingle in.
Hey, you know what this place used to be?
Probably some sort of picnic ground.
An old Titan II missile silo. They decommissioned a couple of hundred of them back in the 70s.
A party of goat-legged pagan members approach, trundling large hand truck with the industrial coffee urn on it.
Here, two who have not yet slipped the nectar of...
Oh, wow. Okay, we're not
Had a
even going to
stroke.
touch that. 2 cups from the urn are given to Friday and Strebeck. Another member passes by with large, red, rough-hewn, compartmentalized wooden tray filled with every capsule, tablet, and drug imaginable.
A small surprise before the ceremony starts. I don't mind.
Strebeck examines the tray critically, selecting various drugs with the discrimination of Harry Winston picking out diamonds. The member glances questioningly at Friday.
I had a big lunch.
The members move off, and Friday watches as Strebeck shoves the drugs in his flak vest pocket, then looks down at the liquid in his cup.
Wonder what's in the cup.
It's V8 laced with phenacylidine, diethylamide, tryptamine, or PDT, commonly known as Rush, a hallucinogenic love drug.
They stare at each other and simultaneously throw away the contents of their cups. A sudden excited commotion causes them to turn and look as, angle on the high platform, their point of view, a man stands on the edge of the platform dressed in goat leggings. He wears an Incan sacrificial right mask, which completely covers his face.
I, your high priest of living pagan perfection, do call the name Gathul.
Do
Call the
name
name
Gathul.
Gathul.
Hundreds of wide-eyed pagans in goat leggings leap and prance around the fire, encircling the hole. A driving, thumping disco beat pounds out of the loudspeakers. Everyone does a dance of the satyr in pursuit, toes pointed, knees bent, and landing on the feet flat to effect a high leaping prance.
Bise Ligutra, the Zamalo, the Shatin.
Shaitan.
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 Back to Friday and Strebeck, stunned, witnessing something that's like nothing they've ever seen in their lives.
Prepare the virgin.
A group of members cheers enthusiastically, dances up to Friday and Strebeck. They have no choice but to join in, begin prancing up and down like satyrs.
Prepare the virgin. I don't like the sound of that.
Let's just hope they're not referring to you.
There's a roar from the throng, and Friday and Strebeck look, angle on the platform. The mask stands on the platform. His voice booms out.
In the name of the Archhelions Abezel and Gathul, I do consecrate this portion in the name of all pagans. With these bats I do consecrate.
With these bats, he does consecrate.
Who would follow Travis, though, into this? The mask opens the cage, hurls at the gaping hole, back to Friday and Strebeck.
The Madagascar tree bats from the zoo.
Good eye.
Back to mask.
With this lion's mane I do consecrate.
With
This lion's mane,
he does consecrate.
Back to Friday and Strebeck.
Now all that's missing is one humongous 30-foot groundhog gulping reptile.
Back to mask.
For the final touch to our brew tonight, a pristine virgin in a gown of white.
Oh, you almost had that one. At this, the throng howls. The virgin, the California ravishing girl, Connie Swale, in a white wedding dress is brought screaming to the platform edge. Back to Friday and Strebeck.
2-1, that's Enid Borden's wedding dress.
20-1, Enid Borden never looked like that on her wedding day.
Evil beings head our plea. She's as pure as she can be, white and clean as driven snow from Orange County. Here we go.
All right, I'll give you points for that one. The throng cheers as Mass shoves the virgin off the platform into a hole.
Oh my God.
God.
Friday and Strebeck take off, ripping through the throng, diving into the hole after the... Because, you know, we just dive into things. The bats fly up from within the hole, screeching to meet them. Interior hole, which is a weird thing to say on a Sunday night. Friday and Strebeck sail down through the air, Sunday landing heavily in murky, brackish water. Friday surfaces and spots the virgin, who is gurgling in the blackness nearby.
Friday,
Strebeck?
I found the snake.
Angle on Strebeck. Strebeck has the 30-foot giant anaconda wrapped around him. The camera pans the length of the huge reptile all the way to where the virgin is encircled by the other end.
Hang in there, miss. I'm coming.
The trapped virgin struggles in vain as Friday starts to yank the snake's tail, trying to free her.
Are you?
Friday, Strebeck. Robbery.
Friday stops yanking and now starts pounding on the snake.
You live nearby, do you, miss?
Anaheim?
Her favorite color is blue. Jesus Christ, Friday, I'm about to get eaten here.
Some big guys grabbed me off the street last night.
Were you sexually assaulted?
No, thank God. They needed a virgin.
Oh shit, you're a virgin?
My hat's off to you, ma'am. Stay that way.
Exterior complex grounds, wide angle. Friday and Streebek continue to fight with the snake as the action in the hole is broadcast over the Dodger vision. The throng oohs and ahs as the tide of the battle swings back and forth. Close on platform, the mask is watching Dodger vision too.
What the hell goes on down there? Who are those two clowns?
Back to hole, the snake's tail suddenly lashes out, gathering up both Friday and the Virgin together, pressing them up against each other.
Streebek!
Streebek struggles to hold the snake's head up by its neck. How now manages to reach into his pocket and grab several of the huge capsules he took from the drug tray earlier. Streebek pops the capsules into the snake's mouth, and the giant snake sniffens momentarily, eyes bulging, then goes completely flaccid, revolving belly up in the water in total ecstasy. Friday, Streebek and the Virgin disentangle themselves and start swimming towards the door on the side of the silo marked USAF, authorized personnel only.
What was in those pills?
Generically speaking, antidepressants.
They make their way to authorized personnel door, open it. Angle on pagan throng their point of view. Hundreds of drug-crazed pagans face them, dressed in masks and hoods, most holding torches, all chanting, "Kill the good, kill the good, kill the good." The Virgin hides her face in terror, and Streebek backs up tense. Friday reaches into his pocket and holds up his badge.
You have the right to remain silent. Each and every one of you has the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one...
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Streebek whips out an enormous .457 Magnum with an extra long barrel, fires a deafening round into the air as the throng instantly disintegrates in screaming panic. Friday, Streebek, and the Virgin begin to run through the cross. How is he still not naming her? She has a name. A hack of pagans as Streebek fires into the air again, causing greater panic. Taking cue, Friday pulls out his snub-nosed Smith & Wesson .38, begins firing as well, and Connie looks up curiously.
How come his is so much bigger than yours?
Miss?
The gun.
I never needed more.
The Virgin gazes up at him adoringly, impossibly impressed. They burst their way through more pagans and suddenly find themselves confronting the mask, who now turns to run.
Not so fast, Blind. You're coming with us.
Friday reaches out and yanks off the mask, revealing... Dun dun dun.
Oh my god.
Reverend Vore.
Friday and Streebek are suddenly jumped from behind, and Vore replaces his mask, runs off, disappearing into the crowd.
So, what do you think of your hero Vore now?
I'd still like to reserve judgment until all the facts are in. But I'll have to admit that right now it doesn't look too good for him.
Angle on Motor Fleet. Friday, Streebek, and Connie have made it to the endless row of stolen motor vehicles.
Joe, look, it's our car. We can steal it back.
Streebek heads for the driver's door, and Friday intercepts him and climbs in first.
Forget it, Streebek. We're responsible for the safety of a civilian, and frankly, you just don't belong behind the wheel of a car.
He starts the engine, and Streebek piles into the back, yanking Connie into the front next to Friday. The car roars off. Angle on the chain link fence, and they speed along compound perimeter, looking for a way out. Vehicles from inside begin to close around them. Interior forward moving shot. Enemy forces are clustering in on all sides, and the gates come into view. A large aluminum tanker semi is entering.
Hey, look, they're opening the gates.
Hang on and keep your head down.
Angle on gates as the semi clears the gates. The sentries immediately start to shut them, but Friday manages to squinch his way through at 60 miles per hour, scraping the car noisily, sending sentries diving away, scrambling in all directions. Good for you, you win above 55. Interior forward moving shot as the highway doing 100, outdistancing, eventually losing all convoy of their pursuers.
Good driving, Friday.
Sorry. Yes, you were wonderful.
Just doing my job.
Friday, this is not the way back to headquarters.
I know that's Streebek. We have a young lady to escort home. I think she's had enough excitement for one night. You'll have to excuse me, miss, but I never did catch her name.
Swale. Connie Swale. Your name is Friday?
Joe.
Joe.
There's a long silence as they gaze into each other's eyes.
Streebek, nice to meet you.
Exterior swale house night. A Norman Rockwell wet dream. Connie's house is quaint, picket fence, and small green lawn dotted with geraniums and so forth. Friday pulls the car over to the curb. Closer on them.
Have a beautiful home.
You bet. Can the beaver come out and play?
Friday clips, exits the car and goes around the front and opens the door for Connie. He escorts her to the front door.
I'm afraid that wedding dress will have to be returned to the landlady Borden, its rightful owner. Needless to say, the department will be happy to pay for your dry cleaning.
Will I ever see you again, Joe?
Absolutely. You'll be needed for further questioning.
They have reached the door and Connie turns, gazes up at Friday. Is it the lighting, or could it be the slightest trace of a blush on Friday's cheek?
I don't know why, but somehow I have the feeling I could tell you anything, Joe.
Connie smiles and enters her house, closing the front door. Friday stares and shakes his head. Exterior City Hall, Parker Center night.
3:12 a.m. We returned from Anaheim where we had dropped off the Virgin Connie Swain. I telephoned Captain Gannon at home, waking him. After absorbing several minutes of gratuitous verbal abuse, I requested him to meet us as soon as possible at his office at Parker Center.
Friday and Strubeck pull up into the police parking lot and exit their Ford. Both are still wearing their goat leggings and look generally bad shape from the evening's activities. Interior Gannon's office, Friday and Strubeck enter and are met by Gannon, who wears a trench coat over his pajamas. That sounds about right. No, this scene is played in silence, seen through Gannon's glass partition. Gannon rises from his desk and removes his reading glasses, staring unbelievingly at the sight which stands before him. Friday and Strubeck begin to make their report.
3:14 a.m. We proceed to relate the details of our successful follow-up on the thefts at the zoo and the subsequent events linking them to the other robberies throughout the city.
Gannon shakes his head in disbelief and crosses to the window.
We briefed Captain Gannon on the outlandish pagan festival we had attended and positively identified the celebrated Reverend Ermin Vandervoor as the unquestioned leader of this deadly cult. We even went so far as to demonstrate the goat dance which we had engaged in as part of our undercover role in the operation.
Details are important. Friday and Strubeck demonstrate the dance. Gannon returns to his desk, sits, burying his head in his hands. He looks up. They're still dancing. He pounds on the desk, signaling them to stop, and then rises, launches into a tirade.
At this point, Captain Gannon became quite upset, accused us of being on an all-night drinking binge, and based on our general appearance, refused to dispatch a backup car to retrieve Dodger Vision, even though we alerted him to the very real possibility that Tommy Lasorda and his finely tuned band of athletes could be even now on their way back to Brooklyn, New York.
Gannon strides to the door, flings it open.
Get out, both of you. Clean yourselves up. And before you start making any more wild accusations against the Reverend Vore, I'd suggest you reread the slander and libel laws in this state. Now get some sleep.
You could probably use a little sleep yourself, sir.
Go home, Strybeck. Stop violating my space.
It's Strubeck, sir. Yes, sir.
Strubeck exits. Friday starts to follow.
Just a minute, Friday. Come back in here. I've never known you to act this way, Friday. It's certainly not the type of behavior your Uncle Joe would have approved of. Dressing up in goat leggings, coming in here with bizarre stories about a public hero like the Reverend Vore being the leader of some satanic cult.
Gannon glances at a picture on top of his filing cabinet. It's a photo of him and Jack Webb.
You know what kind of man he was, Joe? I suggest you try to be a little more like him from now on.
Friday stares at the photo with downcast eyes and shakes his head. Interior Ford, day moving shot. Friday and Strubeck are cleaned up and back on patrol.
9 a.m. At Captain Gannon's suggestion, I returned home to refamiliarize myself with the slander and libel laws of the state of California. After 2 solid hours of nourishing sleep, it was back to routine patrol duty for me and Officer Strubeck.
Last night seems like some sort of weird dream, doesn't it? Who would believe that the Reverend Vore?
Nobody would believe it, Strubeck. Not without some form of photographic substantiation.
Knew we should have brought your brownie. Polaroid one step.
They pull up at a light. Suddenly, a huge object crashes onto the roof of their car, causing an enormous dent. An expensive stuffed chair now lands on the hood. Exterior, Wilshire Hotel. They're in front of a high-rise hotel on Wilshire Boulevard. Friday and Strebeck jump out of the car, guns drawn. A table lamp, a divan, a TV set, 2 stereo speakers, and a baby grand piano arc out from the 20th floor window and land on a solid splintering rain around them in their car.
What's this look like to you, Strebeck?
Some sort of tremendously effective clearance sale.
Interior hotel hallway. The elevator doors open. Friday and Strebeck get out. They hear grunting and the crashing of more furniture. Head in the direction of the noise. Angle on room number 2307. Friday starts to knock on the room door as it opens. A 6'9", 300-pound man, Hulk Hogan, of course, appears.
Police officers, what's going on here?
Don't look at me. Ask that pea-brain Campbell jockey in there.
Hulk Hogan steps aside, affording them a clear view of equally enormous Arabian man, the Iron Sheik, who is lifting a king-size bed, which he now hurls over the top of the room balcony. The room is now completely bare of furniture.
Hey, there's people licensed to walk on that street.
Hey, make fun of Ayatollah Khomeini.
Excuse me, guys. I can't let an insult like that just go by.
Hogan gestures them aside with massive arms and now bends down and grips the carpet with his hands.
Mind your feet, okay?
Okay. Hogan tears the carpet in half and with one length in either hand pulls the entire rug up from wall to wall, leaving Friday and Strebeck sprawled on the floor. Hogan now heaves the rug over the top of the balcony.
I know who these guys are.
Is there anyone you don't know?
Hulk Hogan and the Iron Sheik, right?
The 2 behemoths grunt.
Is that a yes?
They're professional wrestlers. The Hulkster here is the champ.
Strebeck rises. A concerned Friday crosses to the balcony.
Let me ask you a question, Hulk. If the two of you are so mad at each other, why not fight it out instead of redecorating the room?
We're both on the card of the forum tonight. What if one of us gets hurt? We blow the gig.
Angle on Friday on the balcony. Friday looks down at the street below. Angle on street, Friday's point of view. A crowd of curious citizens have gathered in the street below, now milling through the jettisoned furniture. Exterior street. People rummage through the furniture like critical visitors at a garage sale. A young couple agrees on a damaged coffee table which they carry away. A pickup truck stops. 2 men get out, load a half-shattered couch into the back. Angle on corner, rolling around the corner. A panel van with the logo Nuclear Winter Pest Control. If you wish it, we swish it. The driver's side window is rolled down, revealing the face of Emo Muzz. He ignores the crowd around the furniture, instead gazing intently at Angle on Friday's Ford, his point of view. The object of Muzz's interest, Friday and Strebeck's car. Back to hotel room and Friday. Friday shakes his head sadly at the scene below, now returns inside the room.
We pay for what we throw out.
I wish it were that simple, Mr. Sheik. You've endangered the lives of innocent human beings. Champion Hogan, I'm afraid you and your friend are both under arrest.
No one wants to get physical here, Copper. Tell you what, you and your girlfriend clear out and I'll throw a couple of ringside seats for our match at the forum tonight.
That's the fabulous forum to you, mister. And if I were capable of taking a bribe, it wouldn't be to attend a sporting event with prearranged outcome.
There is a deathly silence. Hogan and the Sheik exchange a lethal look. Strebeck smiles pleasantly.
Speaking exclusively for myself, I have absolutely no idea which one of you is going to come out on top tonight.
Hey, Kazunek. You ever see my dromedary clutch?
No. Along with major surgery and the Great Depression, that's something I've managed to miss.
The Sheik reaches out on a clutching paw, picking Friday up by his stomach, lifts him high over his head. Friday's mouth opens in another silent scream, his body perfectly horizontal.
Joe, if it's any consolation, I can't even conceive of the pain you must be going through right now.
Exterior hotel. Friday, holding his abdomen, and Strebeck exit the hotel.
2:12 p.m. After letting the Iron Sheik off with a warning, we left the hotel to resume our patrol.
I always thought the dromedary had 1 hump, but it looks like the Iron Sheik gave you 2.
Thanks for the backup.
Hey, Joe, look.
Angle across the street. One of the furniture looters across the street has opened the door to Friday's car, now gets inside.
You left the keys in the ignition again, didn't you, Strebeck?
The looter starts the car as he immediately blows up, sending metal debris sky high and then crashes down in flames. Back to Friday and Strebeck.
Why do I think that little greeting card was meant for us?
Yeah, and why do I think I can give you the name the postman?
It could have been Vor. Don't forget, we may have eyeballed him last night, but he got a good look at us, too.
I wouldn't entirely rule out Captain Gannon. He was pretty pissed off when we left his office.
I need some coffee.
I know where they serve the best in town. Come on, there's a bus stop right around the corner.
Thank goodness for this city's synchronized network of public transportation.
Angle around the corner.
Hot one today.
Let's wait over there out of the sun.
Camera tilts up to the blinding sun. It's like level 2 of Mario. Exterior bus stop sunset. A gorgeous Los Angeles sunset. Camera pans to the bus stop. Strebeck is asleep, mouth open, head hanging over the bench top. Friday peers wistfully down the street, finally spotting an RTD bus. Friday jabs Strebeck in the ribs. Interior RTD bus. Friday and Strebeck enter. Friday takes out a $1 bill.
Exact change or you're back on the street. Got exact change?
Friday fumbles in his pocket for change. Behind him, Strebeck slides and coat back, exposing a huge 457 Magnum.
Blow it to you, champ. Why not? You have a nice day.
It's too bad we're not foreigners, Strebeck. I'd stack up an LA welcome against any in the world.
Interior coffee bar nights. A sleazy bar. All the waitresses are black and topless. Friday is hunched over his coffee cup. Strebeck is at the jukebox talking to a large black bouncer. He comes over to Friday, who seems oblivious to the topless dancer doing her thing on the bar, inches away from his head.
I hate to admit it, Strebeck, but for once in your life, you're right. This is good coffee.
Try the French toast. Hey, Joe, why don't you lend me 20 bucks?
Do I know you long enough to lend you money? I don't think so.
One dancer bends down, almost stirring Friday's coffee with her breast. He moves his cup as Strebeck sits next to him.
Listen, we've been ordered to lay off the Reverend Vor, and we're doing it. But that doesn't mean we can't follow up on those pagan thefts.
We caught up with all the stolen merchandise last night, remember?
We caught up with all of it except for 2 very large items. I know it's painful for you, but think.
The chloroplaquin and the tricyclomethane.
You just love saying those words, don't you? Joe, there is only one illegal lab in this city capable of mixing those 2 ingredients into a deadly gas, and I can find out where that lab is.
How?
By you lending me 20 bucks.
Exterior South Central LA. Night. A taxi pulls up to the street corner and Friday gets out.
5 p.m. After several cups of coffee and an outlay of over $50 by me to one of Strebeck's old informants from narcotics, I proceeded by celebrity cab to the location identified. 339-684-34 108th Street. An illegal drug lab grotesquely disguised as a legitimate place of business.
Angle on Drug Lab, Friday's point of view. A brick-faced building featuring a sign that says fresh, wholesome milk.
Strebeck has gone to seek assistance from some friends of his in the elite undercover narcotics unit where he used to work. Funny how it doesn't surprise me that he was late, even though he knew I was waiting in a part of town where it's not advisable to just stand around whistling.
Back to Friday. Friday lights a cigarette and actually starts to whistle. He's whistling, I whistle a happy tune. Slowly, out of the darkness behind him, figures appear. 3 of them. Young street thugs wearing headbands, leather tattoos. They close in ominously.
And no one knows I'm afraid.
Hey, zipperhead.
You're up a little late tonight, aren't you, kids?
Let's have one of your smokes.
It's an unhealthy habit I don't encourage in others, son. Get smart. Give it up by not taking it up.
Thanks for the public service announcement. Now hand over your money and I'll go buy my own spokes.
If you're that strapped for cash, I'd suggest a part-time job. Try a paper route. It builds character. It did in my case.
We're not asking you for your money, Ozzy.
No? Then what are you always trying to tell me?
I'm telling you, I'm going to rip off your balls, tie them to a string, and hang them from the dashboard of the next car I steal.
Are you threatening me, son?
Friday sticks his lit cigarette behind his ear. The tough guy at number 1 lunges at him. Friday's hand instantly moves to his belt where he suddenly withdraws an attached set of brass knuckles, which now fit him like a glove. Kicking tough guy number 2 in the balls, he shatters tough guy number 1's jaw as tough guy number 3's razor whizzes past his ear. Friday spins, pulling out an old-fashioned sap, cold clocks tough guy number 3. The 3 tough guys writhe on the ground as Friday removes his cigarette from behind his ear and takes a long drag.
On a school night.
Angle on the corner. From around the corner behind Friday, 2 cars pull up and extinguish their headlights. Friday walks over to them and he's greeted by 2 long-haired narcs already dressed in protective chem suits holding their masks in their hands.
Stan Morrison.
Joe Friday. Bob Squinnis. Better put this on.
There's a rumble of powerful engines from up the street. Angle on Goon, their point of view. A police blue armored personnel carrier with a 9-foot long battering ram in the size of a telephone pole. It roars up, stopping beside Friday. The passenger door opens. Scherbeck stands inside behind the controls and is dressed in a chem suit and mask.
Hop in.
You really think we'll need this kind of support?
Well, Joe, in a case like this where the operation is probably behind 3-inch steel plate doors and the occupants are A, usually in possession of guns, and B, stoned on their own stuff, we don't feel too bad about giving ourselves an extra edge.
Friday hops in as Strebeck shifts the Goon into reverse and winding it up for a run at the building. Morrison and Squone's mask securely fitted, proceed to the front door, beginning pounding on it.
Police
officers.
Open up!
Open up!
Interior Milk Building Lab. A white-coated man crosses quickly to the front door, slides back a viewing port. His jaw drops when he sees, angle on the Goon, his point of view. The Goon bears down to the building, his giant battering ram aimed straight at him. Back to the milk building. The white coat turns and shouts at other white coats nearby.
Look out!
Hit the deck!
Exterior Milk Building. The Goon crashes through the wall of the building, tearing out chunks of concrete, collapsing in the huge sign, "Good Wholesome Milk," which shatters around it. White coats scramble for cover as Sloane's Morrison and the chem-suited police charge into the interior, firing as they go. After 50 or so rounds have been squeezed off,
Freeze!
interior Goon. Strebeck peers through the front of the Goon. Angle on the metal tank, his point of view. An enormous, gleaming metal tank lies dead ahead, almost the height and breadth of the building. Back to Goon. Strebeck revs up the Goon, slams it forward.
There's our evidence.
Strebeck.
Give your mask down tight, Joe. Here we go.
Back to scene. The Goon lurches forward, its battering ram puncturing the giant metal tank in a wide gash. An ocean of white liquid gushes out, knocking white coats and chem-suit police off their feet. It keeps disgorging in a never-ending deluge as Friday and Strebeck exit the Goon. The white liquid swirls around Friday and Strebeck's knees as they take off their masks and look down curiously. Strebeck sticks his pinky into the solution, tentatively tastes it.
Can't quite place it.
It's milk, Strebeck. Just like the sign said on the building before you obliterated it. Good, wholesome milk.
Can't understand it. All these people running around in white coats dressed up like
Milkmen.
Friday cups his hands, dips it, and slurps some more.
You're crazy about that stuff, aren't you?
Calcium, vitamin D, essential for healthy bones and strong teeth. But I suppose that's all Greek to you, right, Mr. Gingivitis?
Exterior Milk Building night. Friday and Strebeck exit and the demolished building, followed by furious white coats who rant and rave at them, making obscene gestures.
7:15 p.m. After explaining to the proprietor of the milk factory that they were helpless to take legal action against the city since we had properly obtained a search warrant, our apology was reluctantly accepted, and Strebeck and I were on our way back to the Parker Center.
Friday and Strebeck struggle to get inside a tiny car, cramming themselves in with great difficulty.
We have been issued the only car the department was willing to release to us at this point, an unmarked 1986 Yugo, a Yugoslavian import reflecting the cutting edge of Serbo-Croatian technology.
Interior Yugo night, moving shot. They drive along, cramped together in silence.
I've been thinking, Strebeck.
That was the sound I heard.
Maybe your informant was right. We're obviously being followed. Maybe Vore and his gang anticipated our little raid and arranged for us to wind up at a dead end. What do you think?
Strebeck stares intently at an object on his forearm.
Why do you keep looking at your watch, Strebeck? Are you and your informant late for going out tonight to spend my $50?
Huh? Oh, this is a TV, a Watchman. You said my Walkman was bugging you, so I got a Watchman.
As far as I'm concerned, they both serve the same purpose, to distract you from your work.
Hey, wait a minute. It's our friend Voorhees on the news again.
Strebeck turns up the volume.
Going on now in the ballroom of the Hollywood Roosevelt.
The camera zooms in the minute screen of the tiny Watchman interior hotel ballroom nights. A reception. Many people seated at tables, their attention focused on the dais where the chief of police reigns and the other city officials listen to Mayor Henry Slack.
Travis?
Damn it, Travis.
I didn't see Major. And as mayor of this city, while I like to consider myself Angelio numero uno, I can think of no more fitting keynote speaker for the Law and Order Foundation than our esteemed guest tonight, the Reverend Amron Van Der.
The throng applauds heartily as Bohr rises, makes his way to the podium, shaking hands with Mayor Slack.
Thank you, Mayor Slack, for your generous introduction. Members of the Foundation, the principles upon which your organization is based can only be preserved by the swift and determined excision of our culture's venal carrion. And though I'm delighted to report that some significant progress has been made in our fight against this so-called pagan cult, whose ultimate goal is to absolutely gomorphication of our city.
The crowd boos heartily, as we all did to your monologue, Travis. Interior Hugo, Friday watches, looks at Strebeck and shakes his head.
This is very frustrating.
Back to the reception.
I will not rest until pagan and other similar deceased groups are surgically removed from this city for their final cremation. Only then can we begin to restore the time-honored values whose threads must be woven into the moral fabric of our society. And now to expedite our collective mission, I have a little surprise for you all. Chief Rains. Chief Rains. Sorry, Chief Rains. You could be a chef.
Totally different jobs.
Reverend Vor.
Would you please rise?
Why, sure, I guess.
Don't worry, Chief. I'm not going to ask you to speak.
Angle on the audience. There's a general laughter and scattered applause. At the table, we can pick out Captain Gannon. Back to scene.
However, I would like to ask a favor of you.
Anything, Your Reverend?
Anything? It's very kind of you, Chief.
Bohr reaches in his jacket and pulls out a high-caliber pistol.
How about catching these bullets?
In one swift motion, Bohr aims the gun at Rains and pumps 6 shots into his chest and stomach. Interior Hugo, Friday and Strebeck's eyes bulge in disbelief.
Chief!
Holy shit.
Back to ballroom. There's a collective gasp from the assemblage of Rains slumps on as Range slumps onto the table, followed by the confused hysteria. Some of the crowd take over and others start to rush the days as
I'm still alive. How do I do, Reverend?
What? He's alive, etc.
Ah!
Very
etc.
convincing, Chief. On the Vor scale of 1 to 10, they should be dusting off your Oscar right now. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, our beloved Chief is in perfect health.
He listened to you. I wouldn't say perfect, but okay. Rains grins, opens his shirt, revealing the futuristic bulletproof vest underneath.
Thanks to one of the 1,000 Calvix bulletproof vests that my organization has been privileged to donate to the Los Angeles Police Department to help our brave men and women in their frontline battle against those forces which would threaten our city, capitalism.
The entire audience stands up and cheers because Travis is finally done speaking. Interior Hugo, Friday looks at Strebeck and shakes his head.
Go figure.
Exterior Parker Center parking lot night. Friday and Strebeck's Hugo finds a place in the lot.
7:52 p.m. After witnessing Vor's little charade on Strebeck's puny television set, I was really looking forward to the end of a rotten day.
Strebeck gets out, talks to Friday through the window.
Want to get something to eat?
Not tonight, Strebeck. I have plans.
Where? Where do you go? Who is she? Does she have a sister? Can I go with you?
Good night, Strebeck.
Friday drives off and Strebeck heads for his gleaming BMW motorcycle, gets on, watches Friday's car start to disappear in traffic. He starts up his bike and shrugs.
Truth is, I don't care where he goes. Yes, I do. I gotta know.
Strebeck guns his BMW into traffic after Friday. Exterior Hoover Avenue. Friday drives in traffic. Strebeck's motorcycle is visible following him, half a block behind. Angle on Hoover and Normal. Friday gets into the left lane, turns onto Normal Avenue. Strebeck hangs back several car lengths and then turns as well. Interior Friday's car, moving shot. Friday pulls into the driveway of a large old house. A Muzak style station plays the instrumental version of Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog. Friday sings along. Exterior house, an ancient turn-of-the-century house with squat stucco apartment complexes on either side, one of the last wood frame mansions in the city. Friday parks, gets out, and walks up the steps to this house. Angle on Strebeck. He parks his motorcycle some distance down the street and removes his helmet. Watches Friday enter the house, and Strebeck runs up the sidewalk, sneaks behind a bush, edges furtively along the wall. Seeing some garbage cans underneath a window, he overturns one and steps onto it to peer inside. Angle into the house, Strebeck's point of view. Friday walks by the window and is joined by another person, a woman, a black pregnant woman. We're being very specific, one detail at a time here. Another girl joins them, pregnant, and another as well. Friday chats with them, sips a glass of milk, which is offered, and seems to be pleasantly catching up on the day's news. Back to Strebeck. He blinks. Totally confused, he climbs down from the window. Angle on the front porch. Strebeck ascends the steps, gets to the door at the exact moment Friday opens it. Escorting an elderly lady, he looks past Friday and sees many pregnant teenage girls.
Let me guess, you're a Mormon and a very lucky one, too.
He notices a sign by the door, the Grace Home for Unwed Mothers since 1942.
Oh, I see.
What are you doing here, Strebeck?
I tailed you. It was obsessing me, and now that I know, I'm more confused than ever.
Who is this nice-looking young man, Joe?
Nobody. My partner. Strebeck, say hello to my grandmother. Quickly.
Well, this is indeed a pleasure, Granny Friday.
Not that it's any of your business, but she's my maternal grandmother. Her name is Mrs. Mundy.
Monday?
Mundy. With a U and no A.
That's a very tasteful outfit you're wearing, Mrs. Munday. I must compliment you, Sergeant Friday, on your impeccable choice of grandmothers.
Why don't we all discuss this over supper? It's my birthday, and for 5 years, Joe's been promising to take me to the Brown Derby. Do come along, Officer Strebeck.
Granny, I don't think that's such a good idea.
Why not, Joe?
Yeah, why not?
Friday stares silently, stone-faced. Joe, it's not like you to be so clannish. After all, he is your partner.
I know that, Granny. It's just that
Yes, Joe?
I've already asked someone to join us. You don't know her, but,
Her?
Her?
Joe, do you have a date? Friday's eyes lower and he nods. I'm so proud.
In that case, it looks like I have a date as well. Granny Mundy, allow me to escort you to Joe's car. I'll follow you to the restaurant on my bike.
Why, thank you, Officer Strebeck.
Ep.
You're kidding. Strebeck guides Granny Mundy down the steps, and Friday stares after them. Frustrated, shakes his head. Exterior Hollywood Brown Derby night. Friday hands the Yugo keys to a valet and escorts Granny Mundy inside. Strebeck roars up his motorcycle, parks, and follows.
9 p.m. Exactly one night after we had witnessed a satanic cult rally, I was escorting my maternal grandmother to the Brown Derby. There was someone I wanted her to meet, and it certainly wasn't Officer Pep Strebeck.
Interior Brown Derby night. Friday, Strebeck and Granny Mundy off into the restaurant, start down the aisle of booths.
Crowded tonight, huh?
You noticed that.
Excuse me, Sergeant Friday?
Friday turns to face the man seated in a booth along the wall. It's Perry Como.
Any word on those sweaters?
Barbara is just as frustrated as you are, Perry.
Well, thank goodness they were insured. Your table is ready, Sergeant Friday, and so is the Don Perignon.
What Dom Perignon?
Oh, I took the liberty of calling ahead and ordering a bottle to celebrate Granny Monday's birthday.
What a thoughtful gesture, wasn't it, Joe?
Yes, Granny, it was very considerate of him.
They arrive at their booth as an occupant who's already arrived now turns to face them, Connie Swale.
Sorry, I was getting clawed. Hello, Joe. I guess I'm early. I was kind of excited.
You sly minx.
Connie, this is my maternal grandmother, Grace Mundy. Granny, please say hello to the Virgin Connie Swale.
You're kidding. They sit. Strebeck pours champagne to all except Connie, who sips a glass of milk. Various celebrity caricatures are hung on the wall behind them, including one of Jack Webb.
To Grace Monday, may you live as long as you want, but never want as long as you live.
They all drink.
Such a happy restaurant.
Isn't it? You know, I once saw Alan Hale Jr. in here. Friday picks up a menu and mutters to Strebeck.
Granny's having the porterhouse, I'm having the lamb chops, and the Virgin Connie Swale is having the Dover sole plain. You make sure you don't ask for anything more expensive than a Cobb salad, and that's a direct order.
Oh my God.
What is it, dear?
It's
Angle on Vor. Friday and Strebeck turn to see the Reverend into the restaurant. He's accompanied by Mayor Slack, Chief Rains, or Chef Rains, depending on how you pronounce it, and Captain Gannon. Back to Friday. Friday gets up, glares darkly.
Friday, what am I about to stop you from doing?
Vermin aren't allowed inside restaurants in the city, Strebeck. I'm simply enforcing the health code.
Joe, he's sitting with our captain, the chief of police, and the mayor. You go over and arrest Vor now, and by this time tomorrow, they'll have you squirting Windex on airport security x-ray screens.
Close on Vor's booth, as Vor, Gannon, Rains, and Mayor Slack settle in.
If you gentlemen will excuse me for a moment, I'm afraid the second highest duty calls.
I'm right back there, Reverend.
Alice, isn't that you?
Oh yeah, don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Like,
You, you really like to let your hair down after hours, don't
This
you?
whole table is just talking to itself because it's all Travis.
Don't you, Mr. Mayor?
What a nightmare.
Travis, you're done talking to yourself. Camera pans to Friday's booth. Friday watches Vor leave. Now starts off to the men's room as well. Interior men's room, because that's a place we want to go. A fancy one with an attendant. Vor enters, starts heading for a stall. Friday enters, one beat behind.
Hold it, Vor. You're under arrest.
I beg your pardon. What is this? Some sort of feeble joke?
It's a real knee slapper, friend. If you consider theft, kidnapping, cruelty to animals, and attempted murder something to laugh about.
I haven't the slightest idea what you're talking about.
Vor enters a stall and closes the door behind him.
Oh no? Well, I'm not finished, friend. I have a few things to say to you before I read you your rights.
The bathroom attendant turns curiously to listen. Two patrons at the urinal swivel in Friday's direction.
My partner and I witnessed that little picnic you threw last night, and we're going to put you where your kind always ends up, in a 7x7 gray-green metal cage on the 15th floor of some 100-year-old penitentiary with damp, stinking walls and a wooden bed plank.
Two more men enter the room talking. The attendant shushes them, nodding in Friday's direction. They turn to listen.
And you know what your biggest crime of all was, Mr. Vor? Disappointment. That's right, disappointment, the cruelest emotion. Because the word implies an expectation, a hope, a promise that wasn't realized.
The assemblage in the men's room listens, totally rapt. From inside the stall, Vor can be heard unrolling toilet paper.
Sure, this city isn't perfect yet. We need a smut-free life for all of our citizens. Cleaner streets, better schools, a good hockey team. But the difference between us, mister, is that you made the promise, and I'm going to keep it.
The toilet flushes inside the stall as the crowd in the men's room breaks into vigorous applause. Friday nods in acknowledgement, reaches into his pocket, pulls out a fistful of change, and drops it into the Attendants, but even back then, that was kind of cheap, Joe. Closed on Strebeck's booth. Strebeck, Connie, and Granny Mundy turn to the sound of the applause as they see Friday exit the men's room, handcuffed to Vor, heading for the Chief Rain's booth. Joe seems to be handcuffed to that man, Pep. Aren't you going to go over and help him?
Not right now, Granny. I may have to arrest Joe in a minute.
Angle on the mayor's booth. Friday and Vor, handcuffed together, approach Gannon, Chief Rains, and Mayor Slack in their booth.
Captain, Chief Rains, Major Slack, I demand an immediate explanation for this outrageous behavior. Well, Friday just went and Mother Goose is going on in here.
Are you insane? Yes.
Yes, he is.
Who is this
It's also-
person?
Detective Sergeant Friday, Your Honor. I'm arresting this man for attempted murder. The Reverend Vor abducted that girl over there and had his men throw her into a pit filled with criminally polluted water and a 30-foot Central Bolivian giant anaconda water snake.
Chief Rains, these are totally presumptuous accusations.
Preposterous, I beg to differ, sir. Just ask him about the 3,000 gallons of stolen chlorocyprin or trichloromethane, which when mixed together in a proper ratio form a liquid fertilizer that burns the eyes, the throat, the lungs, it causes vomiting and even death.
Sergeant, please, we're just about to eat here.
Captain Gannon, is this one of your officers?
He's been under a great deal of strain lately, sir. He used to be one of my best men. Please accept our deepest apologies, Reverend Vor. Sergeant Friday, take those handcuffs off instantly.
But, Your Honor...
Now.
No.
Yes, sir.
Friday starts to rummage through his pants pockets.
What is it, Sergeant?
We have to go back to the men's room, sir. I must have accidentally deposited the keys in the attendant's plate.
Friday tugs Vor along as they head back to the men's room, back to Strebeck's booth. Strebeck, Connie, and Granny Mundy watches. Friday re-enters the men's room with Vor in tow. Are you going to arrest Joe now, Pat?
No, Granny, it sounds impossible, but I think your grandson's just managed to arrest himself.
Exterior brown derby. Vor's limousine is at the curb. His driver opens the rear door as Gannon pleads with him. Friday, Strebeck, Connie, and Granny Mundy watch from a safe distance. The limo roars off, and Friday and Strebeck advance cautiously.
Now look what you've done. Offended the greatest friend a policeman has right now. That man just gave the department 10,000 bulletproof vests.
In all fairness, Captain, we do have a witness. We're building a case.
You're building nothing.
Gannon's car pulls up, and the attendant hands him the keys.
From now on, if I hear you've come within so much as 1 mile of the Reverend Vor, I'll have both of your badges for breakfast. Understood?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Gannon gets in his car and drives off. Friday, Strebeck, Connie, and Granny Mundy stare in silence.
It was very generous of you to try and take us all to dinner, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Joe, for everything.
I'm hungry. Let's go for chili dogs.
Oh, I'll miss my bus back to Anaheim. I promised my mom I'd be home before midnight.
I'd be happy to drive you home, Connie. But
Granny, have you ever eaten a chili dog off the back of a motorcycle?
Not until now, you smooth-talking son of a gun. Exterior brown derby parking lot night. Friday and Connie get into the tiny Yugo in the dark, deserted parking lot. Close on them. As they settle in, Friday attaches his seatbelt. Connie looks over at him momentously.
I really did have a good time, Joe. Honest, I did.
I'm glad, Connie. Now please fasten your seatbelt. I'd hate to ruin a wonderful evening by bringing you in on a misdemeanor charge. That was a joke.
Oh.
Angle on nearby bushes. Emil Muzz, dressed in the parking attendant materializes from behind some bushes lining the restaurant parking lot. Back to Yugo. Friday and Connie are gazing into each other's eyes.
Do you make a lot of jokes, Joe?
Not for their own sake, no. But I've always considered humor to be an effective tool when it comes to underscoring what is essentially a very serious point. Like putting on your seatbelt.
Connie takes the hint and attaches her seatbelt. Friday starts the car and he presses the gas pedal with no response, checks the handbrake, then gives the gas again. Suddenly, the Yugo screams, its rear wheels spinning helplessly. Angle on the rear of the Yugo, Muzz has lifted the back of it off the ground, now pushes it upright into a vertical position. Back to Yugo, Friday and Connie are suddenly gazing into each other's eyes horizontally.
Earthquake, it's the big one.
Back to Muzz. Muzz flips the Yugo over on its roof with a huge grunt. The tiny car plops upside down like a beach turtle. Friday and Connie are now seen upside down, hanging from their seatbelt harness.
Joe,
Connie?
that little joke of yours may just have saved my life.
Friday tries to shake his head upside down as a shotgun barrel is shoved through the open window of the car. Looking out upside down, Friday sees the grinning, equally upside down face of Emil Muzz. Exterior Los Angeles City Hall, day.
8:47 a.m. My name's Strebeck. I'm a cop. I was working the day watch out of Central Robbery.
Interior Central Robbery. Staged identically to the earlier scene, but this time Strebeck is alone at his desk with coffee and donuts.
And I was starting to wonder where my anal retentive partner could possibly have disappeared to.
Strebeck grabs a donut off Friday's plate and takes a bite of it before he answers the ringing phone.
It certainly wasn't like Joe Friday to miss his morning vat of coffee. And when his maternal grandmother, Grace Mundy, called to say that Joe didn't sleep at home last night, I started to worry.
Strebeck hangs up the phone and then picks it up again, dials.
I placed a call to the Virgin Connie Swale, hoping she could tell me what time Friday dropped her off. But according to the girl's mother, the Virgin Bonnie Swale, her adopted daughter hadn't come home either.
Strebeck hangs up, rises, crosses to a shelf, and picks up a copy of the Yellow Pages.
For one misguided moment, I let my imagination get the better of me. I pictured my partner introducing that little Orange County cupcake to the one piece of his equipment that wasn't issued to him by the department.
Strebeck tosses the Yellow Pages aside.
But then I realized that Joe Friday would never spring for the price of a decent motel room, and since having sex in a Yugo automobile is a logistical impossibility, I finally came to the conclusion that something must be terribly wrong.
Interior Gannon's office. Strebeck stands in front of Gannon's desk.
Who cares?
Captain,
You heard me. As far as I'm concerned, Friday'd be doing this department a favor if he didn't show up for a month at lunatic display at the Brown Derby last night. He's become a liability to the force.
you listen to me, Captain. Joe Friday is the most dedicated law enforcement officer in this city. Okay, so maybe all his dogs aren't attached to one leash. I mean, he's thick-headed, reactionary, insensitive, and generally less fun to be around than any person I've ever met. But he's my partner.
You want to find your partner, Strayback? My advice is to start checking the sanitariums.
Sanitarium?
I'm the captain.
Shut up, Captain. Strebeck storms out, and reflective Gannon glances over at the photo of Jack Webb on his filing cabinet. He crosses to it, contemplates it, then sadly turns it face down. Interior mansion day. The Strebeck motorcycle along the driveway to the mansion, passing a fleet of catering trucks, vans with party supplies, and workers unloading liquor, flowers, etc.
9:32 a.m. I had decided to pursue the only other link in the case, Emil Muzz. Once apparently a trusted Blint's employee, but now more likely working for Reverend Vore, since Joe and I were able to gain entry into the pagan festival using his ID.
Interior mansion parlor. Strebeck stands in front of Jerry, who is sitting in a reclining chair, his face packed with mud. He's being given a pedicure by two bait mates, one for each foot.
Let me hear you say it, Captain. I found my magazines, right? Spirits my face listen up some of this crap and Crystal, and I'm starting to feel a little like a Mount Rushmore.
Crystal picks up a squeeze bottle and squirts water in his face like we all wanted to do.
Well?
I'm looking for Emil Muzz.
Good night, former fella. That down slack of steroids totaled my limo and then cut and ran before he could dock his salary on the next 20 years while he paid for it.
Mind if I look around?
Got a search warrant? Then you're done. I got a big party tonight and I don't want you confused for a guest. Feels good, girls. Happy toes.
Happy toes. Interior mansion foyer. Strebeck heads for the front door.
Psst, Officer Strebeck.
Strebeck turns and finds himself facing Sylvia Wuss.
Hi, Sylvia.
Where's that cute Sergeant Friday of yours?
You may be drowning in extremely deep shit, Sylvia. Do you have any idea where I can find Emo Muzz?
Sure. Try looking among all the other dumbbells.
Exterior Muscle Beach. Mecca for the bodybuilder. Camera pans down a row of dumbbells to a cluster of muscle-bound men and women who parade around, flexing and posing their greased-down physiques. Close on Muzz. Emo Muzz, clad in a tight, small bathing suit, nobody needs that, squats in front of a 400-pound barbell with a loud grunt. Muzz cleans the heavy weight up to the chest level and takes a few deep breaths, his body trembling with the strain. Suddenly, the barrel of a .457 Magnum enters frame.
Get him up, Muzz.
What the?
Real high.
Muzz struggles, finally succeeding in raising the weight above his head. His face registers anguishing pain.
That's it. Now hold it right there while we have a little conversation.
Angle on Strebeck.
Where's Joe Friday?
Off screen, we suddenly hear an agonized scream and the loud clang of a 400-pound barbell dropping to the ground. Exterior Alameda Street freeway overpass. Strebeck dangles Muzz over a freeway from the overpass, holding onto his boots at the ankles.
I said, where's Friday?
Universal Studios. Stage 10. Boris rented it for...
Suddenly, one of Muzz's feet slips out of the boot. Oh, oopsies. He falls, screaming, lands heavily on the luggage rack roof of a bus. Speeding by underneath the overpass, the bus is marked LA Brooklyn. Interior LA Brooklyn bus. The bus is filled with Los Angeles Dodgers. Tommy Lasorda sits in front next to Fernando Valens. I'm talking like Travis now, but next to Fernando, devouring a plate of linguine. He looks over, speaks in Spanish.
Did you hear something?
Just your stomach. Are you sure they speak Spanish in Brooklyn?
Angle on the top of the bus. The indestructible Muzz rises, standing in the middle of the luggage rack. An open produce truck is overtaking the bus in the next lane. Muzz leaps for it, landing in a pile of wooden crates, cracking open a sea of green vegetables. The truck with the logo Brillstein's Brussels sprouts exits the freeway, heading back to the city. Exterior Universal Studios day. Establishing shot. The well-known entertainment complex. Exterior Universal Stage number 10 day. Mounted on the stage door is a large sign reading absolutely no admittance. Reinforcing the message on either side of the door stand two pagan goons, arms folded. Interior Stage 10, close on Vor. Reverend Vor sits at a desk in front of an illuminated screen reflecting a beautiful nighttime view of the lights of Los Angeles. Vor stares into camera, glassy-eyed.
So, it is with a heavy heart, my fellow citizens. I must report to you that earlier this evening, at the precise moment the sun was setting over our magnificent Pacific Ocean, the moral leadership of this city tragically sank into the quicksand hell surrounding the repugnant lifestyle of Jerry Blin. Our beloved mayor, Henry Slack, chief of police, Chester Rains, and the members of our city council,
Wider angle. Vor continues being filmed by a pagan camera crew.
all perished in the apocalyptic conflagration. Yes, the price we've paid has been costly.
The camera pans to a corner of the stage where we see a trailer monitored by two guards. Interior trailer. Friday and Connie are trussed up in chairs, tied together back to back. They hop around frantically in a seated position, facing in different directions, bouncing towards a small table.
1, 2, 3, hop. 1, 2, 3, hop.
I'm sorry, Joe. I was never very good at sports.
Friday's fingers have found something on the table. He presses a remote control button which turns on a TV monitor in the wall of the trailer. Friday turns to look.
But I give you my solemn word that the lives of the mayor, the chief of police, and our city council shall not have been sacrificed in vain. No, the demise of these devoted public servants will become the embryo of our own moral rebirth. Rising like the phoenix from the ashes, I now humbly offer myself to the public void until peace and justice once again reign supreme in this city. I extend my hand to all of you. Will you take it?
Cut it. You want to try another one, Reverend? I got a little bumpy with all the pronunciations and whatnot.
Accurate.
You're right. Being a politician is hard. No, it felt pretty good. Just make sure we're ready to cut that film into every television channel in this city at precisely 1 minute after sundown when no one is thinking.
Oh, what? Friday presses the button again, cutting off the TV.
So that's Vor's plan. To eliminate all local government and then take over the leadership of the city.
Joe, what if we promised not to tell? Do you think he'd let us go?
In a fairer world, perhaps. But to be brutally honest, I'm afraid things don't look that good right now. And just when I was hoping.
Yes, Joe.
That after 15 years, I could finally find it possible to feel.
Joe, are you trying to tell me that there was someone else?
The most beautiful thing that ever walked the face of the earth. We were newlyweds, 6 weeks back from Niagara Falls. Then at 9:40 a.m. 1971, the mail came. The next morning, she was on a C-141 headed straight for Vietnam. She died with her medevac unit 6 months later when it was hit by a friendly shell that came in short near Saigon.
Friendly shell.
The door bursts open. 4 enters, followed by 2 pagans.
Untie the girl.
What are you going to do to her?
Why, kill her, of course. I took that little speech of yours to heart the other night. The one about a promise that hadn't been realized. Well, I suddenly realized that I promised my devoted followers a dead virgin, and that precisely is what I'm going to deliver to them.
You twisted maniac. If you had one shred of common decency left, you'd let the girl go and kill me instead.
Instead, but Sergeant Friday, I had always planned on killing you.
Exterior Universal Studio gate. Streebek pulls up on his motorcycle and shows his ID to a studio guard who points him in a particular direction.
2:16 p.m. I proceeded to Universal Studios, a sprawling entertainment complex in the upwardly mobile San Fernando Valley. I was informed by Lonnie Byrock, the studio guard, that stage number 10 and its facilities have been rented out for the day to persons unknown.
Streebek slows his motorcycle, giving way to a tour tram 3 cars long. It's only 3 cars, which now crosses in front of him.
Travis, this is your chance.
Some of these sound stages are also home to many of your favorite television comedies like Tom Cruise, such as Mama and
Tom
the
Cruise is a
Senator.
comedy now?
Those crazy Espositos. Hey, my last name is that. And
What?
give me a hug.
Your name is Esposito now? Angle on tram. Sitting in the front row of the first tram car are Vern and Edna Hunsucker, an older couple who are taking the tour. I'm so sorry you got Travis as your tour guide. Interior exterior tram near stage 10 moving shot. The tram proceeds past stage 10 and Vern and Edna crane their necks, drinking in the sights. Suddenly,
Vern, looky.
angle down, side alley, their point of view. Distinctly visible down the alleyway along the side of a stage, Connie Swale is being physically manhandled into a car by the 2 pagans.
Ah, help, I'm being kidnapped.
Back to Vern and Edna.
Well, they sure don't miss a trick on this tour, do they?
The tram passes on. Camera holds on the alleyway. The car with the kidnapped Connie Swale inside roars off. Camera pans to Streebek approaching the stage on his motorcycle. Seeing the 2 goon guards out front, he stops some distance away, then casually saunters down towards them.
Excuse me, fellas, but you guys wouldn't be actors, would you?
There's no reply. Strebeck sighs and shakes his head.
Just my luck. We're shooting the gangbang scene with Brooke Shields over on stage 28, and we're short two guys.
The two guards instantly tear off at an Olympian pace, heading for stage 28. Do they even know where it is? Strebeck opens the stage door. Interior stage 10. The door closes behind him. The stage is dark. The only illumination being in the background screen, still reflecting the lights of Los Angeles. Strebeck notices a nearby movie camera at the end of the long dolly track and a large electrical wagon bristling with circuit breakers. The door to the trailer opens. Several pagans push Friday out at gunpoint, shoving them towards the side door.
Wise up, fellas. Sure, you may have taken a wrong turn in your life, but there's still time to straighten out.
Well, you're the one who's gonna straighten out, cop, right now.
The pagan aims his gun at Friday's head, about to fire. Strebeck slams down the circuit breakers, searing arc lights sizzle, momentarily blinding the pagans. Strebeck runs towards Friday, pushing the camera down the dolly track in front of him, using it as a shield. Strebeck hops into the seat as the heavy camera picks up speed and crashes into the group, sending everyone sprawling. Strebeck yanks Friday to his feet and pulls him towards the side door.
Strebeck, if you got in here 1 second later.
I realize I should have waited, but that's water under the bridge.
They burst out the door. In the background, pagans rise to their feet and start to follow. Exterior backlot. Friday and Strebeck around the corner of the stage, heading for the studio backlot. The pagans follow a short distance behind, one of them squeezing off a random shot. Friday and Strebeck cut behind another building as, angle on tram, the tram snakes by in front of them. Friday and Strebeck jump onto the first car, wedged in next to the honeysuckers. The pursuing pagans are only in time to jump onto the back of the tram's third car, now try to work their way forward. Angle on the first car as Friday and Strebeck settle in.
You folks part of the show? Don't dangle your feet over the edge, son. You should enjoy the tour, but let's not forget tram safety.
That's right. He's part of the show.
Angle on the ice tunnel. The tram is approaching the ice tunnel. Remember when it was ice?
What's that in front of us? Why, it looks like a treacherous ice tunnel. I hope we get through that safely.
Bless you. The tram slows as the doors in the ice tunnel yawn open. Friday gives Strebeck the high sign. They jump off, run ahead of the tram into the tunnel. The pursuing pagans pile off the third car, run ahead of the tram in pursuit of them. Interior ice tunnel. An ice-covered cave with a special effect makes it all stationary objects seem to be spinning out of control. Because of the illusion, both the pagans and Friday and Strebeck's equilibrium are thrown out of whack as they shoot wildly at each other, stumbling about.
Strebeck, look. The floor isn't moving. Don't look at the walls and you can shoot straight.
You bet I can.
Strebeck takes aim, pulls the trigger, click. He's out of bullets. The pagans, still shooting wildly, advance as Friday and Strebeck head for the doors of the far end of the tunnel. They're locked shut.
Joe, over here, there's a hole.
They jump down into the hole and they're immediately engulfed by a rapidly flowing swirl of liquid.
And water. There's a hell of a lot of water.
Friday and Strebeck are instantly swept out of frame by the powerful current. Exterior flash flood exhibit. Friday and Strebeck pop out of the hole in a rock hillside, shot along this huge jet of water. They zigzag down the street slope like out-of-control children on a giant water slide and wind up in a soggy heap at the bottom. Do not try this at home, children. Rising, sputtering, they turn to look at as pagans now burst out of the hole, careening down the hill after them. Friday and Strebeck take off again. Angle on the Bates Motel. Friday and Strebeck run past the infamous Bates Motel from Psycho. In the background, the pagans are still following. Did we have chocolate syrup, though? Exterior paved road near water. Friday and Strebeck run down a paved, winding road. A pagan bullet whizzes by as they suddenly find themselves facing a large body of water.
Can you swim?
Red Cross Junior Lifesaver with clusters, bub.
Silly me.
Angle on tram. The tram is approaching the other side of the water. Vernon and Honeysucker listen attentively to the tour guide.
The Red Sea, where Charlton Heston as Moses parted the waters in Cecil B. DeMille's 1956 classic, The Ten Commandments, through his mighty hand. I'm sure we all remember that Yul Brynner was chasing them and had almost caught up.
Vernon and Edna look across the water, see Friday and Strebeck being pursued by the pagans.
When at the very last moment,
Angle on Friday and Strebeck about to dive into the water. Suddenly a path opens up in front of them. The waters part, leaving an 8-foot-high passageway straight ahead.
Jesus.
Not in that tone of voice right now, okay, Strebeck?
They run through the parted waters at top speed. Engel on the tram, Vern and Edna watch wide-eyed as the tour guide continues their set speech, oblivious to what's going on before her.
And the evil Pharaoh's men tried to follow them. However,
Back to the other side, the pagans follow, trying to run through the passageway as the waters suddenly replace themselves, engulfing the pagans, some of whom evidently can't swim. Back to tram, Vern and Edna watch Friday and Strebeck run off, then turn their attention back to the floundering pagans.
It's a modern day allegory.
You're pretty heavy-handed if you ask me.
Exterior Burbank Street corner. Strebeck stands in an open phone booth, dials a number, as Friday removes a newspaper from the vending machine, starts leafing through it, looking for something.
Look, here it is, Strebeck. The sun sets at precisely 7:55. They give us less than an hour.
Captain Gannon, please.
Interior Gannon's office. Note, the phone conversation to be intercut as required.
let me get this straight, Strayback. You want me to activate the entire SWAT division and invade a party attended by the mayor, Chief Rains, and the city council because they are all going to be gassed at sundown by the Reverend Vore.
Sounds far-fetched, doesn't it?
And I'm to undertake this career-crushing course of action because you yourself, Rev Tribeck, personally heard that same Reverend Vore make an announcement that those were his intentions.
Well, not exactly, sir. Sergeant Friday was the one who heard it.
Could you ask Sergeant Friday if he would be kind enough to come to the phone, please?
Captain wants to know if you'd be kind enough to come to the phone.
Friday takes the phone and raises it to his ear.
Then ask him if he can hear this.
The click from Gannon's phone slamming down almost shatters Friday's eardrum. He looks at Strebeck and shakes his head. Exterior rent-a-wreck day. A banged-up 1967 Mustang convertible pulls out of the rent-a-wreck lot. The occupants are Friday and Strebeck.
7:10 p.m. Acknowledging the sorry fact the department wouldn't give me a correct time, let alone another automobile, Strebeck and I were forced to dip into our own pockets. The Mustang was pockmarked, the top had been broken off, and I prayed that today, like 337 other days a year in the sunshine capital of the world, it wouldn't rain.
Exterior mansion. Friday and Strebeck park their Mustang in a clump of trees a short distance down the road. They scurry through the bushes opposite the double gates of the mansion. Angle on the mansion, their point of view. A steady stream of limousines and town cars are entering the mansion. Two of the license plates are distinctly visible, LA number 1 and LAPD number 2. Back to Friday and Strebeck.
Mayor Slack, Chief Rains.
Joe, look.
Back to entrance. Another limousine is pulled up to the gate. The rear window lowers, revealing Reverend Vore. He talks to the guard by the intercom and waits for a response. The limo then proceeds to the gate. Back to Friday and Strebeck.
I don't get it. Why would Vore come here and make nice with these people? You think he's calling it off?
I doubt it, Strebeck. More likely checking to see if all his victims are in place.
Look, they're keeping the gates open. When the next car comes, let's slip inside.
You're just the type that would crash a party like this without a warrant, aren't you?
Since when did you become Miss Manners? Vore is going to gas everyone in that mansion. You told me so yourself.
Two wrongs don't make a right, Strebeck. If we walk in there without probable cause, all our work up till now will get thrown out in court.
Well, I'm going in. Unlike you, you petrified monolith of virtue and legal propriety, I have real blood running through my veins. Don't you realize that little antiseptic Anaheim airhead of yours might be in there too? Doesn't her safety mean more to you than a piece of paper?
That's all the more reason not to take any unnecessary risks. Gannon's going to need more than a phone call to convince him to activate the SWAT division. I'm driving to his house.
Strebeck ignores him and stares at the last of the limousines prepared to drive in. The gates start to close behind it.
Strebeck, I'm warning you. If you go in there without me, you're fired.
Strebeck darts across the street, shadows the limousine through the gates as they swing shut behind him. Interior mansion, dusk. Jerry, dressed in black tie, as all here are, greets his guests in the foyer. Bait mates about in various states of stylish undress, each wearing a little button signifying their year. Major Slack and his wife approach.
How's it going, Yana?
Just find your... You met my wife, Selma?
Yeah, glad you has already spoken for Selma. You'd be unfair competition for my girls tonight.
Happy anniversary, Jerry.
Interior living room. He leads the slacks and others, including Chief. You almost have me saying chef now, Travis. Into the cavernous living room. Scantily dressed French maids serve drinks. A female string quartet plays Vivaldi on a raised stage, and guests admire the paintings on the walls. Exterior mansion dust. Strebeck has worked his way to the hedges in front of the house, and he looks around the array of trucks and vans. Back to the mansion living room. The room suddenly comes into a hushed silence as Vor enters. Jerry is his first son, then grins, extending his hand.
I gotta hand it to you, Reverend, showing up here. You must have some balls as big as a church bell.
Danielle wasn't afraid to walk into the lion's den. To quote from a book I doubt you're too familiar with. Love thine enemy.
Oh, say no more, Reverend. Just so you smell that understand that when we talk about turning the other cheek, around here we mean something different.
He chuckles to himself as Vor leads over to a row of chairs.
We're just about to go start a cultural talent show, so you put up here next to me. I'll guarantee you find these girls socially redeeming.
I'm happy to hear it. As a matter of fact, the concept of redemption is undermost in my thoughts tonight.
Exterior mansion. Strebeck watches as a large truck with coiled pipes attached to it is backing up to the side of the mansion. Driver gets out, quickly begins to hook up the coiled pipes to the mansion's air conditioning vents. Back to the living room. A ravishing redhead marked 1982 is singing "Oh Canada" with terrifying ferocity. Vor sits on one side of Jerry, and Mayor Slack, the other side, now leans in.
Any hidden significance to the Canadian national anthem, Jer?
Yeah, I discovered us singing at the hockey game in Montreal. The Star Spangled Banner's next.
Vor winces thinly on the other side and looks up and off, angle in the vent, his point of view. The main air conditioning vent of the living room, back to Vor. Vor returns his gaze to 1982, who now launches into the Star Spangled Banner. They all stand.
Yeah, how about those pipes of ours, Reverend? Surprise!
Yes, indeed. I have a feeling tonight's going to be filled with surprises.
Exterior mansion. Strebeck has moved around to the front of the mansion. He watches wide-eyed as two enormous dump trucks pull up, dislodging their loads, depositing endless copies of Bait Magazine's anniversary issue into a huge conical pile. Strebeck shakes his head, looks down at his watch. Insert shot of Strebeck's watch. It's 7:45, 10 minutes till sundown. Back to Strebeck. He looks searchingly out towards the city beyond. Exterior, exterior gate. Friday's car roars down a road towards the Bel Air gates. Suddenly, an aluminum milk truck marked Good Wholesome Milk passes him, headed the other way. Close on Friday. Friday blinks, recognizing the sign, then gags and coughs, catching a whiff of an acrid, stinging odor. Friday wipes some tears away, then suddenly realizing he wipes his car into a squealing 360, follows the milk truck into Bel Air. Exterior, Bel Air Water and Power Compound, dusk. The aluminum milk roars straight through a closed wire gate marked Bel Air Sewage Venting Station number 2. After a beat, Friday's car pulls up. He watches a tanker crew gets out of the truck. Exterior mansion. Strebeck furtively makes his way behind the catering tents and party facilities. He darts across and hides behind an equipment trunk. Similar to a large video remote unit, it hums with the sound of the power generators and cooling fans. On its roof, there's a large dish. Parked nearby is a catering truck. The rear door is slightly open. Strebeck enters. Interior catering truck. Not a catering truck at all, but filled with TV monitors on which the film that Vor made earlier is on freeze frame with a digital counter marked roll film, which reads 9 minutes, ticking off seconds in descending order. Strebeck checks his watch. From outside, there's the sound of boots on the steps, and there's no place to hide as the door opens and a waiter enters.
Hey, what the hell?
It's okay. I'm with Pacific Bell.
Oh,
Want to hear it ring?
Back bell. Strebeck raises the thick phone book. Exterior catering truck. There's a loud thud and an agonized moan from inside. Interior catering truck. Strebeck moves the digital counter, activates the freeze frame. Vor's image starts to move.
Mayor Henry Slack, Chief of Police Rains, and the members of the city council all perished.
A horrified Strebeck refreezes the frame, grabs the phone. Interior Gannon's house. Gannon watches television with his wife. The phone rings.
7:48. Who could that be at this hour?
Hello. Yes, he is. It's work, dear.
Thank you, Delia. Hello, Strebeck?
Strebeck. Gannon listens intently as a dark cloud covers his face. Interior mansion living room. Several of the batemates, including Sylvia West, are performing Shakespeare. Apparently, we're doing Shakespeare now, in revealing Elizabethan dress as rapt audiences listen carefully.
Hath not Jew, oh God, that has a life of its own. Jew eyes, hath not a Jew hands, organs and dimensions and senses, I travest that, affections and passions, fed with the same food. Hey, Sylvia Shylock always puts me away.
Would you excuse me for a moment?
Vor smiles politely and leaves his seat.
Bad time to eat a cracker. If you percuss, do we not bleed?
Whether ghosts are or good reverend.
Who knows? Maybe he has to take a piss.
Exterior mansion. Vor exits the mansion silently, observing the caterers as they finish sculpting the mountain of magazines into a huge conical pile. One caterer looks at Vor, who nods. The caterer in turn nods to someone unseen as the bound and gagged Connie Swale is led up the base of the pyre. Exterior Bel Air venting station. The milk truck has pulled up beside a vent hole, a large round well which is deep and seemingly bottomless. Angle on the tanker crew. They wear gas masks and now maneuver the hoses from the truck into the vent hole. It's 10-8. I'm starting to flow.
I'll alert the catering truck. We're turning on the gas.
Oh God, you're my partner. The pumps are activated and acrid liquid starts to flow. Friday pops around the corner of the truck, gun drawn.
Drop those hoses and that radio and step back. Nice and easy.
Friday kicks the hoses out of the hole and is instantly driven back by the stinging scent. The crewmen rush him as he fires at them defensively. Angle on the tanker. A bullet hits it. Sparks. It's consumed by an explosion. Back to Friday, standing perilously near the vent hole as the concussion of the blast knocks him in, saving him from the rolling fetal orange and black flame ball, which sweeps over the hole. Angle on the truck, still burning. The crewmen run away, their suits aflame. Interior vent hole. Friday starts working his way along the underground tunnel from the vent hole, following a coiled hose, which runs along the ceiling, disappearing into the distance. Exterior mansion. Propane jets are being wheeled into place around the towering pile of magazines. Angle on Strebeck, who's now dressed as a caterer, puts flame jet in place, attempting to look the part of everything on Vor's men are up to. He glances around furtively, slowly turns open the tap on the propane tank, allowing the gas to escape. He looks back, noticing something peculiar. Angle on a pile is Strebeck's point of view. A human arm is protruding out from beneath the magazines. He pulls some of them away, and the arm belongs to an unconscious Connie Swale. Strebeck digs further. Interior vent tunnel. Friday's running along, suddenly noticing that the coiled hose is starting to arch upward. Back to the mansion. Vor passes the pyre inspecting. Strebeck covers Connie.
The gas should be reaching the house any time now, Reverend. Good. I'm going down to board my private jet. I prefer to watch this cleansing apocalypse from the air.
It only has one syllable, dude. Vor crosses quickly into his limousine, gets in, roars off. Back to Strebeck. He quickly uncovers Connie again, dragging her away from the pile. The flame jets nearby are activated. Exterior mansion gates. Phalanx of pagans begin to deploy themselves along the perimeter of the mansion in case of trouble. Angle on the street surface. A short distance away from the main gates, a manhole cover lifts slightly, and Friday peers out. Wider angle, the gates to the mansion swing open and Vor's limousine pulls out rapidly, drives straight over the manhole cover, which clangs on top of Friday's head as it flattens out. Vor's car disappears. The manhole cover is lifted once again, and Friday looks out through the slit, rubbing his head. Suddenly, from the opposite direction, an armada of police cars, SWAT wagons, and ambulances, including the goon, start pulling up to the mansion gates, flattening Friday back into the manhole again. Angle on the mansion. The SWAT team exit their vehicles, begin to deploy themselves around the property, and back to the manhole. Manhole cover cautiously rises again. Friday climbs out, blackened, covered with sewage. He pins his badge to his lapel, crosses to join the SWAT teams. Exterior mansion grounds. The pyre burns in the base as suddenly the pagans open fire at the approaching SWAT teams. Inside the mansion, pandemonium breaks out as Jerry's guests dive for cover. The soaring flames have become visible outside.
It's okay, everybody. I'm here for a barbecue.
Returning gunfire suddenly rakes the windows, shattering them. Mates scream. Everyone crisscrosses, trying frantically to get away. Mayor Slack and Sylvia Whisk collide. Sylvia falls to the floor and Slack covering her like a blanket.
You're Slack. Mayor Slack.
Just keeping you out of harm's way, Miss Woos.
Oh, don't worry, honey. It's Wuss. I'm sorry. And don't worry, honey. With him on top, nothing's going to happen. Believe me.
That's what she said. Exterior mansion gates. The battle continues as the SWAT teams return the pagans' fire. SWAT Lieutenant Thumb rises with a bullhorn.
All right, let's do it.
Some of the SWAT teams start to storm the mansion gates, trying to vault the perimeter or cut their way through. Angle on Friday. Friday runs to assist the two cops who have been pinned down. He is in torn blackened shirt sleeves and carries a shotgun.
Reed, Malloy.
Joe.
Long time no see.
A bullet stream rips up the ground and Malloy returns fire.
Still taking night classes, Reed?
Finished my psychology course. I'm taking organic chemistry now.
Your wife still into hop keto, Malloy?
Search me. We got divorced.
Oh,
They
yeah.
pour a stream of fire at the pagans through the gate.
How's Frank?
Hey, quit. Open a goat farm in Yukai.
Oh shit.
From a lying position, Friday shakes his head and they reload.
How's your grandmother, Joe?
Yesterday was her birthday. How are you boys?
They're in college. Juniors at UCLA, Bubs and Pepperdine.
Both excellent institutions.
Hey Joe, shouldn't you be wearing a vest?
Vest. Wait, where'd you get those?
Well, there's a few left back in the command wagon. They're brand new Cavlex 9000s. Some law and order charity donated them to the department.
It was Vor. Take them off! Take them off!
Friday gets up and runs towards the gates, yelling for everyone to take their vests off. The SWAT teams are attacking, scaling the gates with grappling hooks, and totally ignoring Friday as if he were crazy. Interior electronics truck, mansion grounds. The firefight rages outside. Operators sit at a console monitoring the defense from television screens. One screen shows a SWAT team on the top front gates preparing to drop down inside.
Transmit shock to vest now.
The other operator presses a switch.
Sending stun signal.
Exterior mansion gates. Lieutenant Thumb leads his men through the outer perimeter of the grounds. Suddenly, his bulletproof vest seems to tighten with a faint blue crackle. His eyes bulge and his body jerks. Angle on the SWAT team. The same thing happens to each of the team members. They drop their weapons and fall to the gates, the trees, etc., crumbling helplessly to the ground. Angle on Friday. All around him, the SWAT teams, including Reed and Malloy, are dropping like flies. Friday stands alone. Exterior mansion grounds. The pagans, now wearing gas masks, charge the gates. Angle on Strebeck, who's managed to pull Connie away from the crackling fire, and the smoke and the heat cause him to cough, sweat, and tear. He watches the flames rise, licking against the mansion. Close on fire, it burns acridly, flames shooting into the sky. Exterior bottom of Bel Air Road, dusk. Vor is pulled over the curb. He stands outside his car, watching the glow from the pyre in the distance, smiling. Exterior gates. An ominous shape enters frame near the mansion gates. Angle on goon. The goon's motor is revved. It's all slipped into gear. Angle on the gates as the goon crashes through the gates like tissue paper. The terrified pagans scatter from the path of the vehicle as the goon makes a wide circle around the front lawn before accelerating in a direct run at the burning pyre. The goon crashes into the inferno, scattering magazines, upheaving the bottom of the pile, collapsing it. The goon comes around for another pass through of seething pile. It penetrates, bursts free again, flaming, smoking thing covered with burning residue. It stops. The driver stumbles out and falls to the ground. It's Friday. Angle on Strebeck, who chases and tackles one of the fleeing pagans. He's about to handcuff him with a gun and suddenly put to his head from behind. Strebeck turns, petrified, finds himself facing Emil Muzz, who smiles cruelly. Travis.
Oh, I went to another page, I think. Hold on.
Shocker.
So
19,
long,
buddy.
hotshot.
Strebeck closes his eyes as the gun suddenly flies out of Muzz's hand. Friday now stands facing him, deadly calm.
You never did have the brains God gave a common dog, Muzz. Don't you realize that's my partner?
Friday jabs a clutching fist into Muzz's stomach, lifts the huge man off his feet by his midsection, flips him over his head, an extremely effective dromedary clutch. Strebeck then applies the cuffs to the moaning giant. Jerry, blackened clothes, smoldering, approaches Friday.
Hey, you saved my house. You saved my cows. You saved my life. Hey, I'll give you something, anything. Money, broads, cars, you name it.
Okay. How about taking your hands off my shirt?
Connie is assisted to her feet by Strebeck.
They doped me up, Joe.
Can you tell?
Put a cork on it, Strebeck. Did I ever tell you how much I like that dress? Now where's Vor?
He said something about watching the fire from his airplane.
Let's go.
Gannon has arrived with more backup. SWAT vests are being removed and piled up. Friday and Strebeck are heading quickly for a black and white police car.
Friday, Strebeck, good morning. I'll expect a full report in the morning.
Report? We gave you our report yesterday, but you wouldn't believe us. We had the only lead in this case, but you chose to ignore it.
Just who do you think he is talking to me like that?
Captain, excuse us. We have a fugitive to apprehend. Are you coming, partner?
You're not going anywhere. Let Tactical arrest him. I need you both here. That's an official command.
Gannon moves off. Strebeck yells after him.
You mean we get the early lead, we do all the tracking, we are the main case witnesses, and now we let Tactical move in and get all the credit?
Look, he gave us a direct order to stay within the vicinity of the crime scene, Strebeck. We don't have a choice.
Here.
Strebeck shoves his revolver and badge at Friday.
What's this?
My resignation.
You're not even going to wait until your hazardous duty bonus comes in?
You wiggling, mincing jellyfish. They've really beaten you into line when the day comes that a piece of bureaucratic bullshit means more to you than looking a criminal straight in the eye and telling him he's been collared.
Exterior Bel Air Road, twilight. Lights from the residential street twinkle at a black and white screeches around the corner. Interior black and white moving shot. Strebeck leans against Friday, who takes a curve, tire squealing near the edge of the sheer drop.
Easy, Joe. This is a dangerous road.
Since when are you worried about my driving, Mr. I like life in the fast lane?
The objective is to continue pursuit, not end up sailing through someone's picture window.
Just hang on to your seatbelt and enjoy the ride, Officer Strebeck.
Exterior La Cienega twilight. Friday's car is doing 70. So proud of you going above 55. Blowing red lights on La Cienega, almost grazing cars at every intersection.
We raced for Vor's private airstrip near LAX and succeeded in executing 20 DMV violations in just under 2 minutes.
Interior black and white moving shot.
You look a little pale, partner.
Yeah, so does that guy in the wheelchair you almost hit.
Exterior La Cienega. The black and white speeds past the oil wells, doing 90 now. The interior black and white moving shot. As they squeal onto a street behind the airport, Friday is doing 100, almost slips the car.
If you don't slow down, I'm never getting into a car with you again.
Exterior tarmac twilight. Vor runs up to a waiting Learjet. He hears the siren. Off screen, rushes up the steps of the open door. His men try to follow, but closes the door, locking out the pilot as well. Interior jet angle on Vor. Vor starts up the jet, rolls onto the apron, exterior tarmac. Vor's men and the pilot angrily run after the plane, firing weapons and cursing. The Lear taxis begin takeoff. Angle on Friday's car squeals into the runway and gives chase as the Lear lifts off, climbing sharply. Friday stops the car in the end of the runway. He and Strebeck get out and watch helplessly.
Joe, we lost him.
I have eyes, Strebeck.
I knew you were driving too slow.
Interior Lear sunset. Vor ascends sharply. He looks down, laughs derisively. I can't. Travis has hurt my reading ability. He begins to bank the plane, heading off to the distance.
Strebeck was right. We had lost him.
Vor relaxes now, clearly well away. Camera holds. Suddenly, a dark blue needle shape enters the corner of his vision.
But only until I called up my old friend, Commander Mo Sarkis of the department's Air Intercept Wing, who supplied me with the means to serve the accused his warrant at the end of a very long arm stretching 40,000 feet above the greatest city on Earth.
Angle through Lear window, Vor's point of view. A dark blue F4 with the LAPD crest and the words, "To serve and protect," on the fuselage. There's a glint of something in the cockpit, a red revolving light above the canopy. Inside, behind the pilot, Vor sees Joe Friday, wearing an oxygen mask, holding up a badge. Exterior sky, both jets. The police jet fires its cannon. Interior Lear, Vor hears the unmistakable of guns. Back to the sky, the police jet escorts Vor's Lear down towards the tarmac. And at the tarmac on Sunset, Connie Swale stands next to Friday's Mustang Rent-A-Wreck, anxiously watching the police plane land. Standing next to her is Granny Monday. Close on them is Friday's Strebeck exit the plane, approaching them.
Hello, Connie.
I picked up Granny Monday on the way, Joe. We're both so proud.
Strebeck, would you please drive my grandmother home?
Home? I just got here.
There's a lifetime I have to catch up on, and I might as well get started right now.
Before you do that, Joe, could we talk for a while?
Friday blinks and Strebeck shakes his head, nudges Granny Monday towards the police cars. Friday and Connie get into the Mustang. Theme music up, close on Vor, studio shot. Vor is seen, gaunt and guilty, and close up against the flat.
On February 21st, a trial was held in Department 817 of the Superior Court, in and for the County of Los Angeles. The Reverend Airman Vandervoor was found guilty of 2 counts of attempted murder, tampering with public utilities, kidnapping, arson, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy against the common good of the Republic of California. He is presently in the men's correctional facility at Chino, serving 43 consecutive 99-year sentences, which makes him eligible for parole in 7 years.
Close on Muzz, studio shot. Emil Muzz is posed similarly against a flat. Note, during the voiceover, camera dollies along the flat to reveal dozens of different pagans and endless line of individual close-ups.
Other trials were held in the case of Emil Muzz and all other members of the People Against Goodness and Normalcy. All were tried, sentenced, and are now serving time at various correctional institutions throughout the state.
Exterior City Hall, day. Friday and Strebeck pull up the City Hall in a shiny new Ford. They get out, cleaned up, and back on the job.
Monday, June 17th. Captain Bill Gannon, though recently retired, is still keeping his hand in public service.
Exterior Elementary School. Gannon, in ill-fitting uniform with a large stop sign, is in his hand, helping young kids across the street.
As a school crossing guard in Tarzana.
Exterior gas station. The Dodger bus is parked in a gas station where Tommy Lasorda is being talked to by a highway patrolman. The Dodgers behind him play a game of pepper in the station.
The Dodger bus was finally stopped in Barstow, heading east, and the team was voluntarily remanded to the custody of 3,400,000 devoted Los Angeles fans whose unwavering support has yet to be equaled in the annals of modern athletic attendance.
Exterior LA City Hall. Strebeck and Friday mount the steps.
8:43 a.m. As for Strebeck and me, we're back on Central Robbery Day Watch, where he still exhibits a blatant disregard for departmental regulations. But I am somehow managing to keep this in its proper perspective. I am still seeing the virgin Connie Swale, who seems genuinely taken with me, but somehow doesn't want to rush into a meaningful relationship at the present time. Last night, Strebeck took my grandmother out to dinner, and I don't even want to think about that.
Friday and Strebeck pass by camera and head into the building as camera pans back down the steps of City Hall, where two thieves steal their new car. The badge, Dragnet signature theme up, the end.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this masterpiece happen right in front of you. Goodbye. Good night. I love you all. Goodbye.